It's so long. It takes forever. The rumble.
That's what she said.
Oh my God. Good evening, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to the Whiskey Six for September 11th, 2025. I'm Brian.
I'm Marianne, and it's 24 years later.
Yeah, 24 years later, September 11th. We are from a little channel called Bourbon School, which I'm sure you all know.
Howdy.
Howdy. So welcome. We're going to have I guess we'll call it an interesting show tonight. It's been a weird week, guys. Weird week, but we're gonna have hopefully some good conversation and some interesting conversation, and might get weird.
I'm gonna drink a lot and keep my mouth closed. Likely. I'm gonna try to. We'll see what happens.
Never gonna happen.
You know what you got into when you married me.
That's true. What are you drinking?
You gave me Makers, but I don't know what it was.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
You're supposed to be like on that.
I just asked for Makers. You gave me a bottle, and it's delicious.
It's Maker's Cask.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You underpoured me again. I measured my glass to your glass.
It's one of the higher Maker's Cask strengths we've had. It's 111 proof.
Can I have a little more, please?
A lot of times they're 110 proof, and this one's 111.
It's really, really, really good.
So,
for real.
Take it easy.
Okay, thank you.
Is that okay? Was that
I just ate some toast. It'll be fine.
Yeah, perfect. I am drinking. I'm almost done. We're almost done with this one. The New Riff 8-year. I love it. It's very good. We just went and did I did.
Yeah.
Went and did a barrel pick at our local shop. They sent us some New Riff 6-year samples, and we passed.
We passed.
I
love when you pass. To be very honest, I love passing.
And in fairness, they were all very, very good.
Excuse me.
But they were also very much like, this is good bourbon, but she has several picks that are good bourbon. So we're going to
You got to wait for something exceptional.
We're going to shoot for something exceptional or something finished, maybe something to mix
That's
up
how you trust a good store and their picks.
Yeah, of course.
I love that.
But the New Riff 6 years were good. They had a couple different chars. They were good. They were fine. All right. So obviously, guys, Joe is on his way. No problem, Joe. Obviously, it's September 11th. Did you say 24 years?
24 years. Next year's a quarter of a century.
24 years.
We're going to pay some homage to the day.
Yeah, we're going to discuss the day and discuss a little bit about kind of some things that have developed over the years. We've got a couple people that really, and I want to make this clear before I say this, I am not disparaging somebody by saying conspiracy theories. It is just people who believe there could potentially be a conspiracy afoot. And I know when you say conspiracy theories, people kind of like, oh, that's a bunch of crazy. I don't think that. I don't necessarily buy into all of it, but I don't think these folks are crazy. These are our friends.
You know what?
It's just they have a belief that there's a little more to what happened than what we've been told.
And we will have an adult conversation about
Absolutely.
it. Where people can have their differences of opinions and be able to discuss those in a friendly manner. Absolutely. And that's what you're going to see here tonight. Yeah,
Dave, this New Riff, I love it. And our locals got like 6 more bottles on the shelf. So like probably this weekend, I'm going to go get another one because it's the best New Riff bottle I've had. I really do enjoy it.
Okay, I'm going to have to just keep my finger in my ear because this thing keeps popping on my ear.
Before we bring our friends in, let's go see who's here. Jim Turner is here. Eric Ellis was first. Eric, good on you,
Jim
sir.
Turner, didn't we just pick his...
We just did a Patreon Selects with him. Yeah. Yep. So welcome, Jim. Chris Jenkins, of course.
Chris Jenkins.
Chris. Is that like Leroy Jenkins?
Yeah, we've done this joke for weeks. He gets it too.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Chris, best mod out there. And he'll drop some links as we go through. Rick in the background. He'll be out here. Rick's joining us tonight as well. He really is just
part of the team.
Whiskey Six now. Yeah, of course. Alan, good to see you, brother.
Hey,
Cheers.
There's my bodyguard.
Your wax cutter. I'll throw it in the mail this weekend, buddy.
Haas.
Let's see. Haas Walker. Haas, your wood chip blind that you did is coming out on Patreon tomorrow. So look out for that. Joe, there's Joe. I'm coming.
Okay. That's what she said.
That's what she said, Joe. Yeah. So we've got some folks out here. Dave Renstrom, like I said, Jeremy Dirks. Good to see you. Thanks for being here, Big Daddy.
Oh, I like it when you call me Big Papa.
Baconator. I love it. Not trying to be political here, but who'd you vote for 2024? Why?
Nope.
Nope. Gonna stay far away from that one. That's what she said. Count is up to 5.
Keep it going.
All right.
Rick, I'm putting you in charge of it. We'll see how many I can get going for the evening or drop in for the evening.
Joe liked our reference. I'm sure it's our Leroy Jenkins reference.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
Thank you, Joe. I actually just that came up on TikTok the other day, and
you played it for me.
Played it for you. Yeah. All right.
So excuse me, everybody. I'm going to be like a news anchor here today because Brian's got this ear thing, this earbud, and it's my dainty little ear keeps falling out. So I'm just have to do this all night.
Okie dokie. All right. Well, let's bring in the crew.
Let's do it.
Sean's gonna be a little late. He had airport run to make, so we'll hopefully he'll get in here because I know he has a lot to say about this topic tonight.
I need to breathe and be a drink in before Sean even gets here.
All right, let's bring him in. First, let's bring in
the gentleman
from the Commonwealth.
Go ahead.
He's in Virginia.
Yeah, I know. No, the gentleman who could do no wrong, who I always agree with, and who I am so happy is here to be in the weeds with me tonight.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. No, I live in Maryland, but I work in the Commonwealth, and I am in the Commonwealth a lot for VA. However, I thought I heard someone say pass gas or pass gas or something like that earlier today when you guys were talking.
Oh yeah. No, back door. It was something about a back door.
Myron.
No,
exit only. Exit only.
No. I was talking to you guys. Said something about something will pass, and I said I'll throw that in there. But no.
Okay. All right.
No, the when it comes to 9/11 conspiracies, like I said when we were talking backstage, when I was younger, I used to like really be into the conspiracy theories of 9/11. Mm-hmm. Now I approach it a little differently, but it's just that some of these things tend to have more questions than answers. Put it that way.
Yes.
Like,
sure.
Yes.
I don't jump all the way off the ledge, but I do have some questions about certain things.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, everybody should always have questions.
And I've always said, like, all these people closer to when 9/11 happened, these people would put out these videos or put out these posts and have all these questions. And my thing was always like, well, okay, but a question doesn't mean there's a conspiracy.
No,
it just means
you have a question.
So,
yep.
I'm kind of with you on that too. I do always have questions, and people bring stuff up, and I'm like, that's interesting, but I don't know if I'm ready to go all in on like.
I think
some of the things we'll talk about tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Puff puff pass, Eric. Was that what you meant? Puff puff pass.
That's not
Smokey from Friday.
Sure, we'll go with
it. It might have been one of those. I know you guys said something about pass.
All right, and I can't believe I said you were from Virginia. I knew you were from Maryland.
Oh, Myron.
I don't know what.
He's not a real friend. I'm your real friend, Myron, not Brian.
Always agree with you, Maria.
And next up, from the Great White North,
my favorite redheaded stallion, the one, the only,
home of Prince and Tim Walz,
and Ben Walker.
There he is. What's up, Ben?
What's happening, everybody? Okay, so
you are the stallion. You are the RHS.
Two things, yes, courtesy of you, Marie-Ann.
Thank you.
So 2 things right off the rip here. When it was just the two of you on there, Brian said something, and I'm in the background, and I'm hitting the "that's what she said" button for a second. But then,
I know.
As I was hitting the button on the soundboard, Marie-Ann actually said it. So now that's inspired me. I'm going to clip Marie-Ann saying "that's what she said," and I'll throw that into the mix once in a while.
Amazing! You should do like every time, and like do like 10 different clips of it. I'll be sure to get it in a lot.
I'll have a whole.
That's what she said.
Hold on.
That's what she said.
And then 2,
get it in a lot.
Myron, they were talking about passing. It was you had mentioned passing on a bottle, and you're like, I passed, and Marianne's like,
that's what it was. I was like,
we passed on the new riff. Yeah.
I've been screaming at my TV.
Sorry, buddy.
It's like they were talking about a bottle.
We heard you. We heard you, but it was brief.
So happy to be here. It's this is gonna be a weird show. I don't even know how to.
It really is.
Bad.
You guys come up with the plan of doing this
because of
Sean.
Because of Sean.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody say it like this: Sean.
Sean. Sean.
Okay, take it easy.
All right. And Ben, you are drinking a Mick Ultra.
Yes, I am.
But
Beautiful.
later you're going to get
But
some bourbon, right, buddy?
Yeah, I was actually gonna say you guys talking about the Maker's Mark, and then I saw it in the glass. I'm like, ooh, I might
It's
have to
really
put that.
good.
I got some lost recipe right here. So
Nice.
Beautiful,
I'll switch to that
beautiful.
after the beer.
I can't wait to get mine. I know I watched your video. You said it is better than last year's.
I think
Did
it
you
is,
put it
but you
beside
know-
the Cellar Age?
No, I haven't yet, but I do, courtesy of non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang, have a sample of the Cellar Age, so I will be doing that. But I think the Maker's stave profile bourbons, they seem to be kind of fine-tuned towards certain palates and certain profiles.
Yeah.
So what I think is my favorite may not be yours, and that's what's kind of fun about those things.
Right. Right. Yeah. And
I thought it was great.
So the lost recipe last year I thought was really bitter. I ended up just giving away the rest of the bottle to our friend Bob, but I am excited to try this one
Really?
because I gave like half the bottle away. It just stayed very bitter. So
I remember saying that one had some black pepper on it for sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this one's better.
All right, let's bring in
I
Robert.
trust you, Ben.
I trust Ben in all things. Let's bring in Robert.
All
The
right.
biggest mistake.
I like you, Ben. You're
Next
a
up.
good dude.
Next
Well,
up
feelings
from
mutual.
Thank you.
the left coast
Oh, don't say left.
and the firehouse.
Don't you dare.
Not around Bobby.
No. Don't you dare.
Everyone's favorite firefighter, Mr. Bad Eggs Bourbon himself. Bobby, what is up, brother?
With a metabolism that women would envy.
What we got?
What's up, Bobby?
What's going
Hi,
on,
Bob.
guys? I've been busy as a mofo the last few days.
Yeah.
Man, it's been crazy around here. Everything,
Did
all the
you-
stuff is going on TV. Then I've got all kinds of annual training at work. Been here for 3 days, so still be here tomorrow.
Oh, that sucks.
Man, it's
you
all
were-
right. It goes. It's my
Animal
favorite
training?
time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year at work, though. But
Making
everything's,
money,
we
though,
got
Bobby.
all kinds of departments in going through this aircraft firefighting training, and
Nice.
man, it's my specialty. So it's called, used to be called Crash in old school days. Now it's called ARF, Aircraft Rescue Firefighting. Lame, because that sounds like a dog sound. But anyway, old school guys call it Crash. So we call it, it's once a year. I call it Crashmas. It's Merry Crashmas, people. Man,
Nice.
it's fun. Yeah, it's
Nice.
fun. Big
Rick wants to know if
fires.
you
all
got
kinds of-
skinnier since the weekend.
What's that?
All that he said. Rick wants to know if you got skinnier since the weekend.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Did you get even leaner since this weekend? Probably, dude. I mean, that's all I do
All
is,
that heat
is
you're dealing
work and freaking ride Peloton here and freaking work out and run calls. That's all I do here.
We got the pictures today of Bobby fighting the fires, like doing his drill.
I
you
did
get it?
not.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dude.
those were cool.
those
What the
were-
hell?
Bobby.
It reminded me
You
of
didn't
like
see
old
him?
baseball, like the in action cards. It was like Bad X
Yo, yeah,
Bobby in action.
Oh, I'm excluded. There's a group where I'm excluded.
Are you in the
Oh.
spare? You're
Yeah.
not in the spare.
I am
You're-
in the
it's in
spare.
Yeah, you're in
She's
it.
in there. I got all
Oh.
kinds of video. I'm that guy
Sorry.
here now because I have a YouTube channel. I know everything about editing, I guess. So I'm that guy.
You just don't pay attention to us, Marina.
I might have
Dude.
been driving our son around.
Well, there, yeah. See, look at that. Our
Oh.
boning with the
Oh, I'm right
Arr,
there.
arr.
pointing at the fire like just a man.
Hey, if I would have knelt down and pointed up, it'd be like that old green, like army man guy with the radio
Yeah.
on his back.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think
You won't
hold
be
on,
able
let
to
me look. I might
appreciate
not have that.
how
There
good
you go.
that video is.
There we
Like,
go.
There he is.
It's
fighting the fire.
whiskey 6 in the spare, Myron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
that's
you
the
how
one
you
with-
missed it.
That's the one I saw most of the stuff on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
got
I'll
some
tell you
cool
how you
video.
missed it because Bobby put the pictures up, and then 78 more text messages
Dude.
came in, and it got lost in the mix.
This-
Wow.
we've
I
been
looked at my phone
it's been blowing up this
one
week.
time today. There was 58 messages, and then
Dude, I
a different
know.
Time, there's 48 more messages.
Dude, I know.
Every
I'm-
every one of those messages was
Super
links
important.
from Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
either
a
links for
fact.
Sean or it was you iPhone users still liking shit.
Sorry.
It's been like a year
I
now.
really-
I've been begging you.
Oh,
I
Oh,
really
dude,
try
that's-
not to. I don't comment a lot in the group, but I did put my foot down about a couple things today.
Oh, okay.
oh yes.
All right.
Yes. Oh, well, hey, I know you guys appreciate this.
In
In
attack,
attack,
that's
nice.
awesome.
Very
Dude,
nice.
this is my favorite mug right now at work.
That's a great movie.
I'm lost. What's in the tech?
Office Space.
Office Space.
Office
That movie,
Space.
Office
I'm gonna
Space,
need you
that's
to
where they
go
work.
ahead and turn in
Yeah.
your stapler, Bobby. Okay. Let's bring in honorary whiskey sixer, because he's probably like a 4-timer now, right?
Oh God, I
Yeah.
don't know.
He's
He's
around. He's a whiskey.
He's
six
always
now.
available.
Let's bring in from the DRC, Rick. What's
Rick.
up, Rick?
What's up?
You're
Oh,
muted.
dude.
No, he's not. He just did what?
No, that was.
he's
Bobby.
muted.
Oh,
He's
sorry.
muted.
Just
Muted.
kidding.
He's
It's
muted.
like it's
That's
like
just the
pandemic
way-
zooming here.
Just the way my wife likes me on mute.
I was saying that was great. I actually enjoyed that. I say Rick's a
Can we
mime
do
now.
that to Brian?
He just needed
Can
to
we
go
throw
like
Brian
this.
on mute?
No, you can't.
I was just trying to practice being Bobby. He's like,
Yeah.
That's Usain Bolt.
Usain
Army
Bolt
guy.
just
I couldn't
pointing at
tell.
that fire.
Yeah.
Amazing. What a
Oh,
man.
dude, that was funny, dude.
All right. Well, why don't we bring in our guest? It's funny. I saw it said Sean popped in, but then Sean didn't pop in.
Oh, Sean pops in, he pops out.
I know.
There's a
what
lot
the
of
hell?
popping.
There's
That's what
conspiracy.
she said.
That's what she said. Thank you. See how organically it just comes up.
Oh man, it is so organic. You never really
That's the
force it.
government
didn't
trying
force
to
that.
keep Sean from speaking truth tonight.
Thank
That's
you,
right.
Jesus. Thank you,
They're
Jesus.
They're
got him in the back
stifling.
of a van.
The longer we keep him off air today, the better.
Oh, that was funny, man.
no. All right, let's bring in our guests. Guys, if you are not familiar with Joe and Old Humble Distilling Company, he does have a YouTube channel and a awesome distillery down in Texas, and does a lot of videos these days, like working in the distillery, filling bottles and kind of working and talking, and he's a fun guy to listen to. Really enjoy his stuff. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe to him. So let's bring in Joe from Old Humble. Joe, how is it going, man?
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much
Glad
for
to have
joining
you.
us. We thought this would be a good night to have you on. It's going to get a little
Weird.
tonight, I think. So,
Sure.
and Joe's here for it.
And I have a feeling that I'm the weird one because I'm like,
No, sir.
what you see is what happened, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, no.
Hey, high five to that, sir.
I think, Joe, we are probably, I'm going to guess that this panel is going to be about 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got some that kind of are like, simplest explanation is usually the right one. And then there's some others who have these questions and are gonna take them and run with them. So I think it'll be a good mix. I think
will.
it'll be a good mix.
I think
for
the
sure.
best way to start out.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm so
Go ahead,
sorry.
Joe.
One thing
There
that
you go.
is simple and obvious is that long tables and deep cups are a great way to bring people together. And we won best alcoholic beverage at the Taste of Humble, the Lake Houston Chamber. We just won a award for our cocktail tonight.
Oh, all right.
Congratulations. Congrats, brother.
That's what it was.
Congrats,
Our
Joe.
custom signature cocktail. Ooh, that's a good one.
I've got my Boomtown signed
go,
by
baby.
you right here.
Our custom signature cocktail, the Maple Whiskey Sour, won best in show.
Yum.
That
I guess.
sounds good.
Whatever.
That sounds
The
pretty
best
damn
beverage
good.
at the competition tonight. So
That sounds
Beautiful.
good.
Very
Congratulations.
Good
Quite
for you,
proud of
man. That's
myself.
awesome.
second year in a row.
And you are available. Like you can ship to almost every state now, right?
47 states, just not Michigan, Utah, or one of the Dakotas.
Okay.
The same states that other people can't ship to.
Exactly. One of the Dakotas. It's on our website.
Yeah.
Our
I think
website
it's
may
North
not say
Dakota.
Tennessee, but we can ship to Tennessee.
Nice. Right on. Right on. And Chris Jenkins dropped the link for the channel, and I'm assuming you have a link to your site and your shop on there.
Yeah, it's actually right down here under my name when you
okay. Oh, wonderful.
OldHumbleDistilling.com. Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Great.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. So Joe, before we get into the stuff, can you give us a little bit of background on you and getting into whiskey and your company?
Oh yeah, actually, I've got the real story. We'll start with the real story. The real life story is I was literally in college. I was 19 and too young to buy beer, so I learned how to make beer. I was 19 in my dormitory.
Nice.
I learned how to make beer, and for $5, if you had your own solo cup, $7 if I had to give you a solo cup, you could get a cup of beer. Because if I showed up with a 24-pack of beer and the RA caught me, I could get kicked out of my dorms, and that would be bad.
Sure.
So flash forward to graduation. After graduation, I started making wine. And then I started playing around with wine tastings, and then I went to a Scotch tasting. I'm like, oh, wow, Scotch is delicious. Every bottle of Scotch is different, just kind of like every bottle of wine is different. I wasn't really a big fan of bourbons because they all kind of tasted mostly the same. And over the years, I learned that they should taste mostly the same because they kind of come from mostly the same area. So, there's this zone where they kind of all, they use the same water, the same climate, the same aging zone. They kind of use the same techniques. Right. There's variations on the theme, but they're pretty much the same thing. But then I went to a bourbon tasting. This is about 2009-ish. I go to a bourbon tasting, and they had 4 different craft bourbons plus 2 from Kentucky. And the variation between something from New York, Kentucky, Colorado, and Texas was like night and day. It was like drinking scotches. They were so wildly different. And the different flavors, I fell in love with bourbon. And it was right around the next year when I was getting out of the MBA program and I was looking to start a business or get into a business or do something kind of as a side gig to my real job. And that's when they were changing the laws in the state of Texas to make it legal to open a micro distillery and profitable to open a micro distillery, or potentially profitable. And in 2012, we opened up the distillery, and I've been ran it part-time until 2020, took it full-time in this facility. And then we just opened up our tasting room. I'm actually in the distillery right now. The tasting room is just over here to my left. And the operating floor is there in front of me to my front. My front? Yeah. We just opened up the tasting room last spring, got our air conditioner installed this summer. And this is the first summer that we've been open full time. The first year we've been open 12 full months.
Nice.
Wow. Great.
Right on,
Congratulations.
Man. Well, congratulations.
Awesome.
Sounds like things are going great down there.
I'm excited for what the next 12 months hold. This is a very exciting time.
Can I ask a few questions?
Of course.
So, one, everybody talks about the Texas climate. Still Austin. Have you
that would taken be climates plural?
Okay, climates. Yeah. Have you taken full advantage of the Texas climates with an S, plural? And like, what is your oldest stock, and what does it taste like? What's up, Sean?
Cheers, everybody.
Yeah, let's give a hello to our resident cowboy.
What's up, Sean?
What's up, Sean?
Good to see y'all.
I've taken advantage of the Gulf Coast climate. Our Boomtown bourbon ages for about a year in those 5-gallon barrels that we have. And I take advantage of every minute of the summer months that we have down here, from May all the way through to the end of really September, early part of October, when we get that intense high humidity heat. This has been a relatively mild summer, which is a little bit concerning for the whiskey that I put into barrels in May, but we've had good intense heat for most of July and all of August. So I take full advantage of all of that as much as I can in order to get that aging. And then with our rye and straight whiskey and special reserve, that's aged in 50-gallon barrels. So, we go 5 years with our straight whiskey, and special reserve goes almost 6, and the rye goes almost 3 with extra oak staves in the barrel. So, we age everything we do here on the Gulf Coast. So we take full advantage. I think personally, is my personal opinion, which is correct, the Gulf Coast is the best aging zone in the state of Texas.
Wow. Okay.
That rye sounds delicious.
And the reason I say that is because out of a 12-month period, we have a solid 10 months of aging. And out of those 10 months, 5 of them are going to be intense high humidity heat. So we get
in and out.
What we get in
That's
3
what he
years,
said.
it takes Kentucky 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So now, Joe, when you have a mild, you said it was a little bit of a milder summer. So, if you age that stuff and you're doing it for a year, are you gonna leave it for another summer then, or do you just like go for it? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what I'm doing just to ensure that we get a little bit extra heat to help. I don't want to do like some distilleries do and have this intense baking of the barrel. I don't want to do that. I'm not a big fan of IPAs, and I don't like microbreweries that just make IPAs. I'm a fan of lagers. I'm a fan of pilsners. I'm a fan of beer that tastes like beer. I'm also a fan of whiskey that tastes like whiskey, and I don't want my whiskey to taste like it was sitting in an open field baking in the Texas sun. I want it to taste like it aged, and that it got the flavor of the barrel, but not just the flavor of the barrel. You know,
Right.
I like my redheads with tans. You know, I like the red hair, but I don't, not just pure redheads. I want my, a little bit of blending in there with the a full rounded flavor is what I'm trying to say. So I like the balance of what we get.
Ben doesn't do anything for you then, Joe, is what you're saying?
Got the red hair, no tan.
Not saying nothing. But I like a well balanced whiskey, which is why with my rye we do the extra oak staves to balance out the rye. That's why with the Boomtown, it's a little bit lighter on the rye, so that I can afford to be a little bit lighter on the wood. It's just
nobody can afford to be lighter on the wood. No.
That's what she said.
Oh, Joe, they're gonna jump on everything you say.
I'm just saying, when the whiskey can be light on the wood when you carry it around elsewhere.
Yeah, we teach middle school, so that's just where our minds go at all times. So
yeah,
all right,
we're all teenage boys.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Including me.
We are teenage boys, 100%.
I think Marianne more than us. I think.
I take that as a compliment. Thank you, Bobby.
I meant it as such. I'm envious.
You get rid of this TV.
It means I'm quick-witted and funny as hell.
Cheers, William Hall. Cheers, everybody in chat, actually.
William,
cheers.
William Hall. Super cool.
He said Bobby looks like he's in a solitary cell in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Bobby.
I had to flash over the Packers rescue.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Hold up. Don't
Is this
be
your hour?
talking about Packers.
Is this your
Boo!
Is
this your hour of TV time, Bobby?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, right. Because I'm in solitary.
Yep. All right, Marianne, why don't you get this ball rolling?
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so obviously this is going to be our 9/11 special. And really fast before we get into the real heart of the discussion, I think it's important that we talk about, I think this is an interesting question. How old were you when it happened? Where were you? And any very quick, first impressions of the day, like what you remember about that day. And we will start with Joe, our guest.
I was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida on the last day of my honeymoon, checking the news to make sure that there wasn't any weather patterns that were going to disrupt the flight taking off in the morning from the airport. I was 20, let's see here, it was 01, so that would have made me 26. Okay. Yeah, I would have been 26 because it was September. My birthday's in June, so I would have definitely been 26.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, we were going home that day from our honeymoon. I flipped on the TV and I went, "Honey,
we're not getting out of here.
I don't think we're going home today."
No, sir.
So did you obviously you got stuck, right? You couldn't fly home. How long were you stuck there?
I bet. Let me guess. Was it at least 3 days?
We were stuck there for it was 3 more days, and then we took our rental car home. Drove home from Fort Lauderdale in our rental car because we just couldn't get a flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. The air was closed down for 3 days. Yeah. For sure.
There was a tropical storm coming in, and we had.
Oh my God!
If we had waited 1 more day, we'd have been there 3 more days behind the tropical storm. So we had to get out of town to beat the tropical.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna head over to Rick next.
So I'm only a few months behind Joe. I'm a November '75 baby. So I was
Okay.
25 at the time, and my starter wife and I were living in Berkeley. I worked at so,
Yeah, this is the newest trend.
Wow.
So cute. So cute.
and
Everybody
so,
needs one.
So
I had one.
Beyonce.
my my brother in Texas called me and woke me up, and I'm like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Get up, watch the news." A plane hit the tower, and as we were watching it, then we saw obviously the live action of the second plane hitting. And so, like, wait a minute, that came in from a different angle. Is that a different angle, or is it no, second plane? And so within minutes, I ran health clubs at the time, and I still work in the health club industry. But I raced across the bridge from Berkeley to San Francisco to close the thing down because there was news that there were other planes coming to San Francisco, Transamerica building. There was a target in LA allegedly. And so the news just went wild with all the potential threats. And so, to make sure that we were being responsible, shut the club down and, got back with family quickly. So that was, it seems like it was an eternity ago. 25,
Yeah.
I can't even remember 25. I'll be 50 in
24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Crazy.
Feels
All right,
like-
we're going to go to Sean because he just came in. Sean, just where you were, how old were you, and that's it.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, you said first impressions on the day.
Oh,
too.
yes, I did. You're right, Ben. Thank you.
I got you.
Yeah. I think my experience is not nearly as important as the stuff we'll talk about later. So, I was a month away from being 19, and I was doing landscaping at the time. And like everyone else, the customer called me in. I watched the second plane hit the South Tower live, and then the Pentagon and everything else that happened that day. So.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, Ben.
I was 22 years old, and I had gone to spend the night over at my parents' house the night before because my dad was traveling for work. So my mom was home alone, and I had a work meeting. I usually work out in the field, but I had a crew meeting that day at the office, which was about 35 miles from where I live. But my parents happened to live right down by the office, so it was convenient to just spend the night at their house, go to the office in the morning, not have to drive in traffic. So, I woke up that morning, drove down to the office. I listened to a CD on the way, so I wasn't listening to the radio. And when I got there, somebody had said that a plane, crashed into one of the World Trade Centers. And at that point, he had said it was like a Cessna or something. Like, it was the first plane. Nobody really knew what was going on.
Yep.
And we didn't really have much for TVs in the office. There was a TV in the meeting room where we were, and it was kind of like, barely got a signal and whatever. And so, so that happened. And then I think before we started the meeting, or shortly into it, the second plane hit, and everybody kind of knew what was going on. And then my boss was like, okay, well, realize this is kind of a messed up day, but we got to still do our work. So we'll just keep checking back in with the news. And I remember we took a break and they said, let's turn the TV back on, see what's going on. And right when they turned the TV back on was right when the first tower went down. I mean, it was like as soon as they turned the TV on, just started going down. So yeah, that's where I was, 22 years old. First impressions on the day, 0 out of 10, would not recommend. 2 thumbs down.
No stars. No stars, Ben.
Yeah, 0 stars. And by the way, Joe, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, we'll go to Myron.
2001, I had just started my job in Virginia, and they sent us down to Richmond for training. And it was like a 2-week training course down in Richmond. And I remember us being down there, and then all of a sudden, like the training class that I was in, we kind of like stopped, and it was like what's going on? And people were like, well, the towers were hit. We were like, nah, like we were like, no, America's not.
You got it wrong, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like you're wrong. Like we did not get attacked on our own soil. You know what I mean? And I remember us stopping class, and we turned on the news, and we were just watching it. And then people started making phone calls, and it was, and I hate to use that term, but it was surreal. Like nobody could believe this is real life. Like this is really happening. And I remember getting back to the hotel, and I said, because this is back when they used to deliver the newspaper in front of your hotel room. I was 21, so I always turn with the year. So
they had
I remember
newspapers
having
back then.
Yeah, having the hotel,
Jesus.
you know, they would deliver the newspaper in front of your door, and I remember keeping those. And believe it or not, they're in here somewhere, but every time we move, they get shifted somewhere else. But I still have those newspapers from when it happened, because I felt like this is something that I need to remember forever. Like this is wild to me.
Like paper newspapers.
Like
Yes.
real paper newspapers.
Like you gotta print those out now.
I have
Yeah,
them.
right?
I have paper
I have
newspapers
the papers
from that
9/11
9/11
in my
as well.
classroom, yeah.
No, I have them down here in our basement.
Oh,
Mhm.
Lord Flashheart watching all the way from the UK.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. And I'm putting up, people are kind of sharing where they
Yep.
were and what they remembered. So I'm putting those up on the
Myron, did you hit all the
Screen,
did you
Tom
hit all the
Black.
points, Myron?
Hit all the points. Yeah. 21
Okay.
and where I was at. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, Bobby, you're up.
Well, since I'm the old man here, I was 30 years
Jeez,
old way back. Yeah, gee, oh my god.
Tell us
So,
what it was like in the
38,
1900s.
And I,
Yeah, for real.
way back. And I was in this building right here. I was at work.
Oh
I
my
was at work.
God.
I'd been on this job for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Okay.
And so and I remember not getting very many calls that day after that, because I think everyone was just sitting glued to their TV, like, what the F is happening? This, like you said, it's surreal. So we're kind of like, even as what I do, we're just kind of like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we start getting calls to ramp up and actually go out there in task forces and stuff. Like, there's different task forces throughout your states, and where I am in is Task Force 3 is the one that's here. Task Force 4 is pretty close, but didn't know if I was going or not. And I didn't actually end up going, but a lot of friends that end up going. But and they've got a lot of crap wrong with them right now. So
Yeah,
you know,
their
it's one of
lungs
those
are
things
probably all messed up.
one of those things you want to go help, but then in hindsight, you're like, damn, dude, I'm actually
bullet.
kind of glad I didn't go and start to read all that shit.
Yikes.
So that was, and it was kind of a catch-22.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, you're up.
I was teaching in Buffalo, and
Mm-hmm.
my principal came into the room and told the kids what had happened, and we watched TV the rest of the day, and then we went back to my apartment.
No, you went to my apartment. I was living with Linda at the time.
Weren't we in my apartment?
No, not yet.
Oh, but we watched TV all
Mhm.
night.
We did.
Yep.
How old were you? I know how old you were.
26.
27.
No.
I was 24.
Oh, 27. It's 27.
Okay, so I was 24 when it happened. I was teaching first grade at a Catholic school in Tonawanda. And I had the music teacher come to my classroom because he knew I was from Brooklyn. And he asked me if I needed to go make some phone calls. He said, Marie, and I have some bad news for you. There's been an accident in New York. That's all he said. And do you need to go call your family? I will cover your class. And I was like, yes, I definitely need to go call. And, you know, I had a cell phone, but back then you'll remember that calling long distance was very expensive. So you couldn't do that. So my principal let me sit in his office. My father worked in World Trade Center. He was a maintenance worker there. Thankfully, he was not working that day. He was actually in Hoboken and watching it all from across the river. He was on vacation that day. I know it was very, very fortunate. He went to Atlantic City, so gambling saved my father's life.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Right. But my aunt, she worked at a building called 60 Hudson. She was only a couple blocks down. She worked near City Hall. She was still in the city that day. And then my best friend, who also worked in Manhattan, I had to contact all of them to make sure that they were okay. My aunt was fine. And my friend Fabio, yes, his real name is Fabio. He actually called me while he was walking over the Brooklyn Bridge because everything got shut down that day. And he called me to let me know that he was okay. So it really hit close to home. And I just remember it being blue skies that day because, you know, we live in New York. And so like I was doing the after school program and I looked at the sky and I was like, wow, it's beautiful. And the people 8 hours from here are living literally in hell. Yeah. It was a very surreal. Myron, you're right. It's a terrible word to use, but there's no better word to use when you've lived through it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that's all I got.
Okay.
All right,
You sure that's all?
Oh my God.
Okay. So I guess we don't really need to like I think obviously everybody on the panel remembers what happened. People listening, I think for the most part, we've had a lot of people chime in and give their firsthand like
We're all
this
old
is where I
enough that
was.
we
Everybody's
weren't
old
in
enough.
school.
We
right?
don't need to go over the timeline and everything that happened that day. I think what we really want to talk about and what we
This
really
was
want
the
to
one
get
where the
into.
plane hit the birds and they had to land in the Hudson, right?
Right. Sully.
Oh, Sully. Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to make sure we're talking about the same day.
You got it. That's it. Correct.
No, yeah, this is a totally different situation. But I guess we've got some folks like here that kind of, and I think I'm probably more in the camp of like simplest explanation is usually the right one, and kind of what you said, Joe, like what you see is probably what happened. And then we have some other folks that I know don't like have at least to have questions. And I have said, certainly questions come up and I'm like, well, that's an interesting question. Like, what the hell? But I think questions do not a conspiracy make. So like, I guess, Sean, I want to start with you because I want you to kind of walk us through some of the main points of the things that like you have questions about and that you think maybe are like full on, like we're not being told the truth or we haven't been told the truth. If you could just encapsulate that quick as a rundown, and then maybe we can start talking about like, what do we think about these things?
And before Sean gets started, I did say this before Sean got here.
Mhm.
I think we have 23 people watching this evening. I think this is going to be a great example of how adults really should be communicating and conversing with one another, and having adult conversations and still being friends at the end of the day.
Yes.
So let's show them how real people get along tonight.
So by Sean going first, no one else is going to need to answer, right?
Right.
That's why I said I want him to give us a brief rundown. Then we can get into more detail for sure. But if we can get like a brief kind of like, what are the main points, Sean, of the folks who are like, this doesn't smell right?
So a couple things. I don't think that doing a brief rundown really does this justice whatsoever.
Okay.
So I'm not going to do that. But there are a couple things I do want to say before we get going, kind of to Marianne's point, and especially right now. I want to be really clear about what I am saying. I have issues with the government only. I want to be very clear that I have tremendous respect. I think anybody that's ever watched me knows for the men and women that served in the wars that followed. And in fact, that's a lot of the reason why I've spent a lot of time investigating this subject is because of that. Because I've known guys that went over there and served and didn't come back. I've known guys that did come back and had buddies die. So it wasn't just that 3,000 people died in New York that day. It's bigger than that. And then there's also all the deaths that happened to people in Afghanistan and Iraq. And I'm not going to get into whether that should have happened or not. But either way, a lot of lives were lost because of this day. It was not just 3,000 people. It was actually hundreds of thousands of people that died because of this day. So that's why this matters so much to me. This is not just what happened in New York. It's way bigger than that. So I want to be really clear that first off, I don't even really like the term conspiracy theory. I don't think that's even just at this point. But
it's a manufactured term to discredit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and one of the things I said before you got here, Sean, is I'm using that term, but I'm really trying not to use it like in a derogatory way. It's just like there are people who use it as a negative connotation, like you've got a tinfoil hat and you're crazy and you have conspiracy theory. I'm simply using it in a way that it's like, okay, there are people who think that the official story doesn't smell right and there's something else going on, which by definition would mean a conspiracy. So I don't want you to think I'm putting you in the tinfoil hat corner. I am just simply suggesting you're not buying the original story.
To the point that you're making there, Brian, the reason I don't like it is because when that term is used, then then whatever information follows is usually dismissed kind of out of hand
It's
because
discredited.
like you're a crazy.
Yeah, and we don't want to do that.
Correct.
No.
Correct.
So,
No. So we say you have a different point of view.
well, I think
Alternative theory.
I think that as Brian pointed out, the more that you dig into 9/11, and again, I don't think that we could really do it justice in the time we have tonight. So I think the more that you dig into this, the more questions that you're going to have. Because there's tremendous problems with literally start to finish and everything that followed and a lot of stuff before the day of. So, but again, I want to be really clear that I am not in any way disrespecting the men and women that served over there. All I want to say is that I think the pretenses for the wars that followed were at best huge stretches and at worst complete lies. So, and that's why it's so frustrating to me that, but so I'll go ahead with instead of going through, real quickly the various problems, I thought maybe a better way to do this would just be to ask everyone on the panel and those watching a few questions.
Okay. Sounds good.
And so we'll start with kind of a really basic one, and that would be, do you trust your government? And if so, why? And if not, why? Not just a yes or no. Then whoever would like to go first.
I'll go. No, because there's politicians.
Yeah.
Politicians want power, and if they're in, not all, most of them start. A lot of them start out with good intentions, and then when they get a taste, you start owing people favors, and that favor becomes more and more and more, and then they get to where they are. They get to be nationally known, and all of a sudden, you do it, or maybe your family's not around, or pressure happens to everybody. It doesn't matter how high you are, how low you are, and don't.
Okay.
What do you say? Was trust but verify. There we go. There's a reg. There's to quote a politician, right? Actor, politician. Trust but verify. I'll just put it on.
I like
go
that.
across.
Okay.
So, Joe, what about you?
Well, I think that's a invalid question. I mean, do you trust your government? The answer to that from either whether it's yes or no does not follow to, well, then what we see is not what we're told is not what we can believe.
But is in general, I guess, generally speaking,
I'm asking a general question, not
pull out September 11th,
and not in regards to 9/11 specifically, Joe. I'm just trying to get.
We shouldn't trust our government. We don't trust anybody. We don't trust corporations that tell us something. We don't trust. Hell, I don't trust you when you tell me something, unless
the corporations run the government,
it's
probably.
It's not like I don't trust you, but it's like if you say, how an employee called me, she had a flat tire. I'm like, okay, you're going to be late. Just tell me you're going to be late. I don't care. I didn't go out and check and see if she had a flat tire. I don't care. I just assumed she was late. It's fine.
Yeah.
But there's a certain amount of trust that you have to assume, but then there's also a validation that goes with that. And if they say something and you can look out the window and say, okay, that's valid. Our government gives us weather information. Do we trust the government? They say it's 75 degrees outside. I go outside. Do I have to put on a coat or not? Yeah. I'm not going to go outside and check and see if I have to put on a coat. I'm going to check the government's information about the weather and go, okay, that's cool.
I also own a thermometer, but yeah, sure.
and you can verify it. You can see what they say. They say it's going to be a comfortable day.
I'm guessing they also own a thermometer.
But you don't have to check your thermometer every day. I also live in Houston. I barely own a coat.
Yeah. Okay.
So do I trust the government? Yeah, maybe 60%. Maybe.
Okay.
More than I don't.
You're pretty high. Okay.
That's probably 80% more than I do.
More than I don't trust them, unless I've been given a reason not to.
Well, spoiler, I'm at 0. But
okay.
Shocking. That's shocking, Sean.
All right, Myron.
Color me
I would argue it's probably higher.
Myron, what about you? Generally,
No, a lot of the times I'm kind of 50-50 because like Bobby said, when you get into certain positions, it might not even be as serious as, hey, your family's not going to make it. It might be, well, I am not going to fund your campaign. So, and we know, like, a lot of these career politicians, they count on being in office as a career and as a salary. So we could look.
Here it is.
We could talk
Here it
about
is.
what they need to do as far as getting their salary reined in, bringing it back down so they live like the common folk, so they really understand the common folk. And we can also talk about insider trading,
and we all know that's going to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
well, yeah, we do. But I look at it like this. Sometimes they're telling us the truth. Sometimes they aren't. I mean, sometimes they have bigger things to accomplish, and they feel like that is outside of what we need to understand. All governments are not going to be transparent. They're not. We need to face that's just the reality of it. So they are going to either fudge the numbers or lie to us a little bit. But I have accepted that. But yeah, I'm kind of like 50-50, which I believe most people believe what they want to believe. And I'll leave it there.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Ben, what about you?
I would say at the time that 9/11 happened, I had a much higher trust in my government. I was also very, very new to politics. That happened at just a perfect point for me to kind of mold me into a belief system that I no longer have. It just kind of sent me down a path of being leaning one direction much harder than I do now. I'm Sean, you and I have talked about this. Well, we all have actually. I'm kind of a middle ground sort of person. I'm not a red tie or a blue tie sort of guy. So back then,
Purple?
I was,
Minnesota?
a little purple, like the
Little
Vikings. Yep.
I don't believe in any of the ties.
So exactly. And so, but the way I look at it now after reevaluating my belief system and after just the last 24 years, whether it's 9/11 related stuff, whether it's war related stuff, whether it's COVID related stuff, whether it's election related stuff, no matter whatever it is, time and time again, our government has proven that we can't trust them. And the sad part about that is there are going to be times inevitably when we're going to need to trust the government when they're actually telling us the truth. And I don't think it's going to work anymore because they've cried wolf so many times that they're they've eroded their trust in the American people. And it sucks because I love what our country is supposed to be. But unfortunately, our government doesn't live up to it. And I feel more and more we as citizens don't live up to it either. And so, yeah, it's very frustrating. So, I mean, to bring it back around, no, I don't trust anything they say. Or anything that I say or anything I see that they say, I always leave, even if I say, okay, that seems legit, I always leave room for doubt. Always leave room for doubt. It's like even if they come on and they say, okay, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, I can say, okay, I'm evaluating this, what they're telling me. This seems right. Some things just on the surface don't pass the smell test. But if it seems legit, okay, I'll take that in, but I'm always going to be cautious about that. I'm always being guarded about that, and I'm always going to do, a little more of my own research.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, fuck them. I don't trust them.
Research from the government websites.
Yeah.
Rick, what about you?
I want to trust the government. Unfortunately, I think one of the best examples of why we can't was just declassified, and that was the JFK assassination.
Yep.
And the minute that it was put into print that the vice president and the CIA put a hit out on our president, which was one of probably my top 5 favorite presidents of all time, by the way, JFK.
Were you alive?
What blows me away, the fact that in our country, you can have that type of power and backdoor channels and connections, and that there is an elite that exists in a world above the world that we all live in, that pulls a lot of the strings. It's scary, it's frightening, and it's disheartening.
Yeah.
Because I think we all want to live in a great country. And this experiment, this constitutional republic that the founding fathers founded, was the best idea in history. and I'll still stand by that. And to someone's point, I don't know if it was Myron or Ben's, career politicians are a big part of the problem. And
Absolutely.
I don't think they realize it when they start. Someone starts as a business person, or they get their MBA and they want to run for mayor, and that turns into county supervisor, and they make a change, and they make some difference. And now somebody's voting them in as a representative, and now they're in Congress, and life is good. And then you have to have these series of meetings with these people in the political action committees or these sponsors. And they, I'll really appreciate it if you vote my way when it comes time. And then now you have to start compromising your morals, because to get reelected, to make a difference, the original difference that you wanted to make, you have to compromise on things. Now, compromising business is good, and sometimes compromising government is good. But when you have to compromise,
I gotta check out, guys.
All right, Bobby.
Okay.
Oh, bye, Bobby.
Take care, Bob.
Maybe I'll be
Good
back.
luck. Be safe.
Okay.
Thanks.
Be safe, Bobby.
Thank
Good luck.
Man, dang. I really have some questions for Bobby later, but hopefully you can make it back, Bobby.
I think he'll be back. When you've got to compromise your moral compass so much that you can't even find true north, that's where the problem lies, right? And now, if we have term limits, back in the day, men had to serve in government and in the military, and then get out, and you go back to farming or doing whatever you're doing. You couldn't be a career politician. You could be a career like military personnel or what have you, but you couldn't be a career politician, because that's just not how it works. So I think those are the things that I think would help fix it, but we're not into fixing it. We're just talking about, do we trust or not? And I want to trust, but unfortunately I don't think there's enough evidence where we can't trust.
I love your optimism, Rick.
I said I want to trust.
I'm going to leave this up here until we can get verification from Bobby.
There you go. Yeah.
I want to raise a question real quick. I don't want to just leave it out there. He said that the JFK files that were released said that there was a hit put out on the president by the vice president and the CIA.
Yeah.
Where in the file? What, you got any documentation for that?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Because I just looked, and the AP that reviewed 63,000 documents that were released said that nothing changed the narrative. Nothing changed the story about the assassination. Most of the files were about covert operations outside of the United States. That's
crazy. Yeah, so JFK was trying to make some changes that had to do with the Federal Reserve, and then, of course, all the things that he was dealing with Cuba and so forth. And Lyndon Johnson, and I mean, this came out on ABC, NBC, CBS. I'll have to look it up, but I'd be happy to do some digging and send it your way when I find it.
Sure.
Should also be noted, Joe, if you're using ChatGPT, it tends to...
No, I don't use ChatGPT.
Okay. Well, any kind of AI sourcing tends to source old common material, I guess you would say, the most common narrative rather than new information. But anyway, go ahead.
Old, but I'm not so old that I don't know how to use search.
Brian, thoughts?
You want to go with me?
I don't know. I think I generally trust the government in as much as, well, how do I say this? I know, I think most of the underhanded shit that they're doing is out in the open. So, I guess I trust them in a way that I don't always go for the shadowy, like dark operations kind of stuff that comes up. I don't know that is the case as far as the government working against us as citizens. But I do not trust them in as much as everybody sees on television in their actions, in their words, that they are not interested in helping us or moving us forward. They are interested in, what do I do to get reelected? And I always say politicians in the government, they will do as little as possible until it's time to get elected, and then they do just enough. And to me, that is a group of people you can't really entrust with making things better for you. And that just enough makes us think, oh, well, they did this, things are a little bit better. And I just don't. So I don't trust them in that regard. And I'm I just don't like the idea of not being term limited and government getting bigger and spending all this money, because the libertarian in me just hates all of that. So if you made the government a heck of a lot smaller, I guess there'd be a lot less to mistrust, and that would be good for me.
You know, it would take the government to pass laws to make the government smaller.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. And I always say this, like we'll talk about things like term limits with my friends and stuff. And I'm like, well, the problem with term limits is you need the people who are going to put term limits in the law would literally have to be voting against their own self-interest. And you're never going to get them to do that. Never. Correct. Yep. So like it's kind of a moot point. What's that, Joe?
They'd be voting against our self-interest too. But that's a difference in philosophy.
You're not a fan of term limits?
Oh no, not at all.
Okay, all right.
If you were taking your car to a mechanic,
mm-hmm.
who would you want to be the mechanic? The dude who's only been there for 4 years, or the dude who's been there for 15?
I've asked my mechanic never to
Politics
retire.
is the only place where we want incompetent people governing us, passing laws and regulating industries that are intent on fucking us every chance they get.
But Joe, what if your
I
mechanic?
think we're getting off topic, fellas.
Mhm.
But
What if your mechanic was
Why don't
being
we
paid by
calculate
Ford
for
to bust up your Chevy so you go buy a Ford?
Can I respond to the question?
yeah,
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I would say before COVID, I believed our government a lot more. I was a person when COVID happened, I was all in. I was all for staying at home. I waited for my vaccine. Like everything that was coming on the news, I listened to and I followed and I adhered to. And it turns out it wasn't the best and greatest information that we were provided during that time. And I feel a huge letdown to that. And so that being said, I don't trust our government as much as I did. I feel like now I get an answer. I need to do my own research. I think more than anything, politicians are really very much interested in serving themselves before they serve the people that they represent. So I think we need to be cautious of that.
That's an absolutely perfect example, because in lieu of the people at the CDC or the health department or the various agencies that their job is to oversee this, if those people didn't exist, where would we have gotten the information from?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm disappointed. I feel let down.
Yeah.
I feel let down. That's all.
Yeah. And
because I was all
Me
in.
too.
I think in a lot of cases we expect more from the agency, the people who are there in the government. One part of it is they're working with one arm tied behind their back, because half of the politicians in government don't want to fund the agencies to the point where the agencies can do the work that they can do. And the other half just want to throw money at the problem. And it's like, or, keep the other people happy to the point.
I'd love to talk about this. Actually, I wouldn't. So we're getting sidetracked again.
No, it's part and parcel of the problem, because the people who came out with the 9/11 Commission that you reject are just people who are working in agencies who were tasked with uncovering the information and finding this information, and they were working with one hand tied behind their back, because half of the government doesn't want to give them the funding to do the work they want to do and the work they need to do. So
I agree that the findings were not done well. That's what we're getting at. But all right. So another quick question. It feels like, though, the general sentiment, and I'm trying to encapsulate everybody's kind of thoughts, but without going too far and interjecting my own thing, it feels like that most folks are kind of 50-50, but feel like generally that politicians tend to serve themselves first and then their citizens.
Absolutely.
Is that a fair assessment, kind of the group sentiment?
Yeah, if you'd have asked me if I trusted politicians, it would have been way less than 60.
Well, that is the government. But no,
not.
No, but I
think a lot of them start out well-meaning and then they get too caught up in the game.
Yeah.
The Postmaster General is not a politician.
Yeah, like the civil servants and the bureaucrats are the government. But I think what.
Well, I'm not asking if
correct me if I'm wrong, Sean.
Or firemen. That's not what we're talking about.
I feel like I feel like the politicians are the drivers of the government, and maybe that's kind of where your question is targeted at.
Yeah, that's who I don't trust.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about civil servants and
I
Yeah.
thought
I don't
No.
care about.
I don't trust the chairman of the
judicial,
committee of the
executive,
whatever.
and legislative branches. That's the one.
Yes.
That's correct. That's who I
Yes,
thought you meant.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's who I was
Okay.
referring to
Yeah.
as well.
For
Sean.
clarification, I thought we were all on the same page, but just
Okay.
I trust the heads of the agencies and the
Okay.
people who work in the agencies who do the work that government does of governing our country. I don't trust the politicians. The
Okay.
the
Okay.
heads of the department
enough.
of whatever, the chairman of the committee of the whatever fart sniffing dogs.
okay.
Got it.
Now I'm gonna ask a second question. This one will be quicker, but I just want to get clarification before we move on. So,
Okay.
would you say, each of you, would you say that politicians, let's say, so Joe is content with my question, would you say that when they pass laws and make decisions, send bills, forward, would you say that they're doing these things with their own interest in mind first, or their citizens that they are governing?
All right,
Whoever
let's
would like to go.
let's
first.
go. We'll go counterclockwise. So we'll start with Rick, and then we'll go up and around.
I think it depends at what level, Sean, but to answer the question as directly as I can, I think it ends up being partisan agenda, which is supported by the constituents that voted them in. So if I run for Senate in California and run for a Senate seat, and my platform is I want to lower taxes, I want to bring down the ridiculous fuel tax, I want to have better immigration laws, I want to lower crime in San Francisco, and then I go do things that mirror what I campaigned on, then I think you serve both, right? You serve the party interests, you serve the constituents. I think in Washington, it gets a little more complicated, right? You've got the Potomac two-step, and it's a power grab and struggle. I don't think a two-party system is fundamentally functional in our society any longer. But I don't know how you break away from it. So I think in Washington it's different. I think state and local government is probably a little bit more for the people and by the people and of the people. And when you get to the federal level, I think I have a little bit more of a concern that it's definitely more partisan. And let me hold on to my seat and let's retain power on this side of the aisle or that side of the aisle.
Mhm.
Yeah. All
Whatever
right,
side
Myron.
it is.
Sorry, Rick. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
No, I ask the question again, Brian.
Oh, Sean, do you
Yeah.
think that?
So
do you think-
when
go ahead.
No. Like, do they serve themselves or do they serve the people? That's what it was.
Yeah.
So I feel like this. I feel like they serve themselves, and I'll kind of piggyback off of what Rick said. When they're at the state level, they look more at serving the people. But then when they get to the national level, that's when they tend to serve themselves. And that's the simplest answer I can give. And the reason why I say that is because they look at it they almost look at it like a Supreme Court a Supreme Court appointment. Like they don't not even an appointment. I mean, they look at it like taking a position at the Supreme Court where they are looking at a lifetime position. Like they don't want to lose their seat. They look at it like, hey, I can enrich myself by staying here as long as I can, doing whatever insider trading, because I do believe that they do a lot of insider trading up there. But I believe they become a lot more selfish once they make it to the national stage. So they look out for themselves. They say they want to do what they can do for the people, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben, thoughts?
No, I do not think that they serve the people in the sense that they actually serve what their constituents want. They will come out once in a while. They'll each get out there and they'll run on a platform. They'll throw out topics. They'll throw out social issues to keep us fighting amongst each other. And one side's going to say, "Well, I support this." One side's going to say, "I support that." Whether it's and pick a social issue, whatever it is, whatever's trendy at the moment. They get people fighting back and forth about that, and they say, "I'm going to serve you on this because I'm going to fight for X, Y, and Z." On the big stuff, they serve themselves by doing whatever corporation is paying them and funding their reelection campaigns and whatever branches of government above them or foreign nations, whatever it may be, is holding a gun to their head, theoretically. I mean, not literally holding a gun to their head, but you know, I think that they're all bought and paid for to a degree. I think they're all under threat to a degree. And I think they're all, you know, it's like George Carlin said, it's a big club and you ain't in it. And so the shit that they pass around every election, there are certain things where, you know, the different parties have, you know, very, very stark contrast, but they want to keep us fighting about those things so they can keep funding X, Y, and Z that no average citizen wants to go along with.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Hey, cheers.
All right, Joe. What do you say?
Don't you guys find it weird that at this point, our politicians don't seem to know whether tax cuts or tax hikes help the economy? We're still fighting about this. Every fucking election.
Constantly.
One person wants to raise taxes, one person wants to lower them, and then they both bring on their own economist to talk about how one of them is going to affect the economy. It's like, we've done this shit already over and over again. How do we not know how this works?
And the solution is always the same solution from 1985.
Oh, Ben.
And so they just keep us fighting about things like that so they can keep funding wars and keep funding covert operations and keep eroding. Go ahead.
I think that the politicians are responsive to their constituents, but the constituents aren't the people who are voting. The constituents are the people that pay for them to go
fair
pay
enough.
for their campaigns. So, and not even, y'all can talk about the federal level all you want, but even at the state level, it's cheaper to buy politicians at the state level than it is to buy them at the federal level.
Right.
Elections are cheaper at the state level. There's 2 billionaires who are payrolling the entire Republican Party in the state of Texas. 2.
And you can make a lot of change at the state level. I think they serve their constituents to the degree that they have to.
40 politicians in the state of Texas, and you own the government. That's it, and it's not expensive. It's a local race. I mean, it's like a couple $100,000. These guys have this in their sofa cushions.
But going back to what Marie Ann said, she said, and I agree with her, when they come up and they're young, it seems like they feel like they want to do something for the people in their state. They're fighting for the people in their state. So once they're on the state level, it's like, I don't want to take big money. I want to see what I can do, small dollar donations. And then they get to the national level or the federal level. And it's like,
all bets are off.
It's like I'm taking big money from anywhere I can get it because I got to compete.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, armies march on their bellies and politicians march on their wallets. That's I mean, if you're going to bite the hand that feeds you, you're going to get screwed.
Brian, Marianne.
And even more importantly, this isn't theory. This is like, we have tape recordings of people from ExxonMobil saying this. All we need is 3 senators.
Yeah.
That's it. You only need to buy 3, and you're done. You got it.
Hey, Joe, it's so funny you said that, and I pointed at the screen because that's exactly my thing as I was trying to formulate my question is they don't serve the voters because they don't give a shit about the voters. They don't need to give a shit about the voters because the people who are going to get them and keep them in office are the people with the money. And so I think they serve themselves first. If we get served, it's that little bit they're trying to do to get elected. And it's like, people are like, oh, well, they did this was great. And they don't realize they threw their name on something to get it to help, sponsor a bill, or they helped lobby for one bill or whatever it might be, one law. And but then you look back at their legislative record or their term, and it's like, well, shit, they did one thing in this 4-year or 6-year term, and that's it. And we're supposed to be happy about this, but people take it. It's like you're feeding them slop and they take it, and they'll go and vote for them because they think, well, they did this for me, and it's. But they are completely self-serving.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And you also have to consider the people that are blue no matter who, red till I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really even need to delve into the issues. They don't care how much their side gets caught lying, which they both do constantly. Right. They will continue to vote for whatever party they grew up with because people's party affiliation is ingrained into their personality. I mean, it's like a religion to people.
Yep.
You know, Ben,
Yeah.
Ben,
There's
that's
a
really good
party
point.
loyalty that keeps these people in power because, and a lot of
Ben,
people are
that's
just
a good
misinformed.
But
too.
but there's also the lie that the individual politician is going to vote his own conscience, but the politician is just going to vote for his party because the party's also bought and paid for.
Of course.
Well, yeah, and if you
No matter who
vote
Red
against
Till I'm
your
Dead
party,
doesn't
you're an
matter.
outcast.
Yeah.
Blue no
You're
matter
a
who.
pariah.
Blue no matter who and red till I'm dead doesn't matter because they're still going to vote the party line.
But
Yeah.
now that's the way. In the 90s,
No, but that's how they keep getting voted back in.
But you
That's
never
how they keep getting
ever
voted
vote
back
for the
in.
individual because the individual doesn't vote. The individual votes for the party. Votes the party line.
Which goes
But
back
the-
to Rick's earlier point that the two-party system is a problem.
Yeah, big time.
Because exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Two party money is a problem.
Well,
Yeah.
I think politicians are banking on people have memories like goldfish. Like, they have
Yes.
short-term memory. And so, like, it doesn't matter what I did in the
Yep.
years, the previous years of my term, as long as like my last year before I'm reelected, I do some really good stuff, then people are going to vote me back in.
But the thing is, you don't even have to do really good stuff. Like Mario or Andrew Cuomo. I mean, if people drop out of that New York City race, he's going to get elected the mayor of New York City. After all the shit he did in New York,
Mm-hmm.
he potentially could get elected in New York City. And he hasn't done anything really great since then.
No.
Like,
Well,
he's still
right.
an asshole.
But
But
his
he's probably going to get
constituents
elected.
like him.
dozens of
All six of
elected officials that still have their position that is true of.
I think
Yeah.
people.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
for the
absolutely.
majority of politicians are banking on people to really have a short-term memory. They're banking on, with all due respect, they're banking on the voters being kind of unintelligent.
Naive.
Or
Yeah, you're
or
right.
they're hoping people are just
they
like,
got that in the bank.
they're
Yeah.
hoping that people will just see them as the lesser of two evils. Also.
Correct.
And
Correct.
and two things to add to this. So I was going to say earlier when Ben was talking, in the 90s, I didn't see this. People weren't so dedicated to their party, right? They were like,
Yeah.
oh wow, I voted for that candidate at George Bush Sr. He didn't really work out too much. Hey, why don't we look at this Clinton guy and see how he does? Two totally different parties, right?
Mhm.
Different ideologies, but like you're trying to choose maybe the best candidate, whether or not that's that person completely aligns with your morals and values and so forth and views. But people were more willing to do that. And it seemed like the news wasn't steering us as much
Exactly.
at that time.
Yes.
The
So
90s
now
was a
people were
different
more
time.
civil.
Time to follow politics 24/7. They click on CBS at 5 p.m. and now they're getting curated news. They're being
Perfect.
steered on how to vote. So it's unfortunate that people can't make those informed decisions anymore, and they vote red or blue only.
Rick,
Instead.
this is going to circle us back
Yeah.
perfectly to our topic, and I'm going to steer it back to Sean. When the news started cycling 24/7 was 9/11. That's when we started seeing the ticker tape on the reels on the bottom of the screen. That's when we got our 24-hour newsreel. It all happened after 9/11. So Sean, Rick,
lot of
that was a
things
perfect segue. So back to you,
Let
Sean.
Joe,
Oh.
what were you going to say?
I'm sorry.
I was going to say it was a little bit. It was about 5 years before that with the Iraq
Yeah.
War. That the first
Yeah.
Iraq War.
Oh,
The
That
first
gave
Iraq
them-
War.
That was when CNN went 24/7 for the first.
Yes.
okay.
And you could literally
Certainly
watch
became more prominent.
You're
you could
dead
watch
on.
the war all day.
Yeah, you're dead on. I mean, I mentioned this in chat. Well, I'm at a hotel in Fort Lauderdale with my newly minted wife, and we're just watching we're watching the news all day long.
Yes.
And then we
Like-
go down to the pool and we watch the news on the TV. And we're like,
Well, I
we
would
gotta do
say
something else. This is just ridiculous.
I would
you couldn't
say
help it. You were engrossed.
Yeah, there was nothing else.
I would say, Marianne, the reason you probably feel that way, that's when it started, because I feel likewise, as far as from memory, because I feel like that's when the media became more weaponized and more
Okay.
manipulating our emotions. I mean, I think
Okay.
that's the best way to word what happened after 9/11 was complete manipulation of the American people.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It also could be that 9/11 was the first time that you tuned into the news on that level. Like, and maybe you're saying that's the first time I noticed it. but,
Yeah.
Well, that's when everybody in the country was glued
Yes.
to it for days.
100%.
And the
And
other
I
thing
think
is
that-
too, and as far as Sean, you brought up a good point about when cable news started manipulating people, was definitely around 9/11. But I think when at least this is when I kind of got into the game politically, but when I noticed like the big rift between left and right was the Bush-Gore election.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
when
and
the
all
election, we had to
questions
do a
surrounding
recount.
that, yeah, and the recounts and stuff.
650 votes.
That's when it seemed even more so when, just looking back historically, when cable news and corporate news started picking sides.
That's correct, Ben.
Yep.
I would agree with
And then
that.
they went that they just cable news destroyed America as far as I'm
Absolutely.
Big time.
concerned.
And
you-
and social media.
You don't
Oh,
forget that
social
when
media.
it even goes back into the 60s when Walter Cronkite turned against the Vietnam War, we lost the war. That was it.
Mhm.
Walter Cronkite said it was done, and it was done.
Yeah.
When you lose
All
Walter
right.
Cronkite, you've lost the war.
Yeah.
The
so,
teacher in me is going to circle us back and get us back on task. So I'm going to take it back over to Sean. He asked his 2 questions. The panel all answered. And Sean, it's back to you now, featuring
Yeah,
9/11.
I mean, we're not going to be able to get into it tonight because, like I said, it's just
No.
too vast of a topic. But what Ben mentioned, the Bush-Gore election was certainly an important turning point, and
Yes.
may have led to 9/11. But anyway, that's like I said, we don't have the time to get into all that. But here's what I'll say. The reason I asked these 2 questions is because I view my relationship with the government the way I would with any other person, because these are people that we're dealing with. And so if you had a person that you know for a fact has lied to you multiple times, and you also know for a fact is self-serving and is trying to manipulate you, how would you view them and what would your relationship be with them? I mean, I feel like this doesn't even
Exactly.
deserve an answer.
Yeah.
And that is how I view the government. It's so for
Okay.
me, this is a really simple relationship. I have nothing to do with you because you do nothing for me that I can trust, or that I am not entirely sure you aren't doing as a ruse to manipulate me. I mean, like, I think the perfect example of this is what followed 9/11. The American people essentially just wrote the Bush administration a blank check to do whatever the fuck they wanted to do. I mean, that's what happened. I mean, we started in Afghanistan, then we end up in Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction. And sure, there was some chemical weapons that were found, but that's not what we were told. That's not why we were supposedly going over there. And then, I mean, and we bombed the shit out of Iraq. It killed 140,000 Iraqis. 46,000 of those people were civilians, had nothing to do with the military at all. And here's the thing. Anyone that knows me knows exactly how I feel about Islam. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I'm not pro-Islam is all I will say. So, but either way, these are innocent people that got bombed for no fucking reason. And if you have any sense of humanity, that has to piss you off. I don't know how it can't. So even if everything on that day is legitimate, which I do not think is true, that is a mark on America, regardless of how you want to spin it. So,
Well, thank God America no longer takes part in funding things like that.
Yeah.
Right, Ben.
You know, and here's the thing. As each one of you has kind of mentioned little things. 9/11 is not the only thing like this. If it were just this aberration, this one-time thing, then I could try and write it off. But this has happened. They've done this, and that's the other thing. When we say these are a rotating group of people. But the problems stay the same. It doesn't matter what the administration is. It doesn't matter if it's red or blue. None of that shit matters. Well, what is always the same is that they're constantly lying to us and manipulating us to get us to do things that in the end, well, at least a lot of the time, are not positives. I mean, Marianne, you brought up the COVID situation, how that opened your eyes. I think that opened a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
For me, I'm so deep into this already that I was like, yeah, fuck you. I'm not doing that. But I mean, honestly, Ben, you brought up how you've had a lot of questions about elections. I think a lot of Americans have on both sides. And so the thing is, like, over and over and over again, it's this pattern of behavior. And so like that's why I'm at 0%. I don't
Right.
trust you. I wouldn't even attempt. If I was going to throw you, you'd be off a cliff. But I don't trust them at all. I mean, and so I understand that people feel the need for some kind of hope in this situation. My hope doesn't rely on any human, but I can't. Okay. I'll leave that alone. All I will say is that I do not vote for these people because I think that they are all evil. And I've seen nothing to the contrary ever. In the time that I have been paying attention to politics, I've never seen them do things that I can say to myself, I think they're really trying to help America. I think they're really trying to help American citizens. I don't remember a single time in my life where I felt that way, ever. I mean, they will say things. They say a lot of stuff. We all know that. They say a lot of things to us to make us feel that, to coddle us and to make us feel like they're trying to make us safe. But what they actually do, I mean, I don't know.
I'm going to piggyback right off of Sean, right, for just a second. I think to your point, Sean, it's feelings that the government preyed on after 9/11 for sure. They played on the unity and the feeling of nationalism and patriotism that we all had after 9/11. You remember how we all felt? We had flags. We were playing "Proud to Be American" every other song on the radio. Like it was, we were all
play
united.
America the Beautiful in the 7th inning stretch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Like everybody felt, everybody in this country was on the same page that the people who knocked down those buildings were our enemy. And so whoever they said that was, it was easy for us to get behind and say, let's go take those MFers out. Right. So like, I think in this instance,
Osama bin Laden, what a fucking joke.
Okay. Right. So what I'm saying is they preyed on for Brian loves to talk about women who prey on, like, they act with emotion.
Lead with emotion.
But I think in this instance, our country was leading with emotion, and the government played on that and preyed on that 100%. No matter how they made their decisions, they were like, out this country, east to west, north to south, we are all feeling the same thing. We're going to go do what we can right now because everybody was on the same political party.
So I have a question.
Whether or not you believe the government was behind 9/11, because I know there's some theories about that, or whether or not you believe that what you saw is what it was. No matter what you believe in what the actual event was, yes, you're right. The government they preyed upon us, and they used that.
Patriotism was at an all-time high.
Patriotism, they took the goodwill that people had, they took the unity that people had, and they absolutely fucking abused it.
Yes, 100%. They said, look at all these people. They're all on the same page. We're going to fucking run with this.
They saw 9/11 as an opportunity. That's what it was. Right. Regardless of what happened when they saw it, the aftermath, they saw it as an opportunity.
That's correct. And I believe there were weapons of mass destruction because they said it. And at that point, I was believing anything that they told us. 100%. People came to our country. They knocked down our buildings. They killed our people. And I wanted to believe that whatever our government said, we were going to go after the people that did this to us.
I believed Colin Powell. Colin Powell.
Yes.
Guys, if I could. This won't take very long. So, Ryan, this is my abridged version of the abridged version I sent out yesterday. And this is for anyone that is curious. These are just, and you can watch this back later or whatever the case, for topics to search. I'm going to just burn through these. So things that happened pre 9/11. Operation Northwood starts in 1962. This is a CIA operation. Look into that as far as this was a planning false flag program as well as swapping out boats and planes to use for false flags. Again, look it up on your own time. Osama bin Laden worked with the CIA in the 1980s. Again, you can research that. Twin Towers become privatized July of 2001. And then, of course, very famously, I forget the billionaire's name.
Larry Silverstein.
Larry Silverstein.
Yes.
He gets the lease for that. Also, we know he's been very open about his ties to Israelis and Israeli government. John O'Neill, who was ex-FBI agent, he warned the government about potential terrorist attacks. He's fired by the FBI, and he becomes head of security at the towers. He dies on 9/11, so he could no longer talk about it. Donald Rumsfeld announces the day before 9/11 that $2.3 trillion of funds is unaccounted for from the DOD. That's never talked about again after 9/11, primarily because the document for that, or at least it was not talked about in a major way, primarily because the documents for that were burned the day of 9/11. No military jets intercept any of the commercial planes that had flown off of course that day. Some of them were off course for over an hour. Typical intercept time is about 10 minutes in the United States. 0 planes were intercepted by any military, primarily because they were running war games for fake terrorist attack that day, which is also interesting.
Crazy.
Flight 175 was flying at an incredible speeds, too high speeds for a commercial plane at sea level. Again, things you can research. And that's most likely true of Flight 11 as well. We have left video of that one, so it's harder to. The damage to the towers from the planes should not have caused a collision. Again, this is probably the most major issue. But just look up things like jet fuel burning temperatures, what temperature structural steel can withstand. There's a whole, that's a really deep subject. That would take hours in itself just to talk about. Explosions are heard by eyewitnesses, multiple eyewitnesses. There are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of eyewitnesses that talk about hearing explosions, whether that be in the building, outside of the building, at various floors.
Watch news reports about that today.
I mean, probably hundreds of people talk about hearing explosions, and not just the plane hitting. I'm talking about other explosions outside of the planes hitting. Pentagon potentially hit by a missile. Again, a lot of information out there if you want to dig into it. And then the magical passport that was supposedly of one of the terrorists on the plane that hit the World Trade Center. Somehow melted steel, but passports are magical. Building 7 collapsed. Building 7 was never hit by a plane. It actually had very minor fires in it. And yet it still collapsed exactly like the other 2 did. Again, explosions were heard by people around Building 7 before its collapse. Again, these are eyewitnesses, not like after the fact. So that's just some of it, and there's actually tons more. Those are just some of the problems. We could talk a lot about the events that happened afterwards as well that were suspicious, and even more that day. But there's more. There's problems with the flight that went down in Pennsylvania. The
Building 7 is a wild one because I remember I didn't even know about Building 7 for the longest time, and I was glued to coverage about this. And I know you can look up historically now, there is some stuff about Building 7 going down, but the type of news coverage that I was watching in the aftermath of 9/11 just didn't report on that at all. It just wasn't a thing. And then you hear about it later on. That is pretty weird that a building that's, a couple of blocks away with buildings in between it and the Twin Towers caught fire enough.
And the manner in which it fell. The manner in which it fell was a controlled
pancake down perfectly.
Well, the thing
is weird.
We have pictures. We have pictures of that day. There's pictures of, you can see the fires. You can see where they were. It's pretty well documented. It's not.
Guys, they showed it live. What do you mean they didn't cover it? They talked about it. They showed it live. You could have watched it as it happened.
Well, and my
I
question
was
is,
there. We weren't there. We were in Fort Lauderdale watching it on the news as it happened.
I think Ben is
They
referring
didn't
to
cover it. They talked about it. Building
Ben is
7's about
referring
to
to the
fall down.
coverage
We're going to
after
think on
the
it live. And then
So
Yeah,
my
I'm
question-
talking about the coverage of the aftermath of it. If you didn't watch it live, there wasn't much focus on Building 7 in the aftermath of 9/11.
because they'd
So
evacuated.
if you didn't see the live footage of it, what's that?
All the people were in the other buildings. That's the coverage that they were looking on, the recovery of the bodies, the recovery of the possible survivors. That was what all the coverage was about. Nobody
What's
gave a crap
interesting
about
about-
the empty building that fell later on that evening.
so my question,
But
I
they
guess I have a
covered it.
question about Building 7 has been the one that, like, as we've gotten closer to September 11th this year, and like Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're on social media, this stuff about September 11th starts to pop up more often. And Building 7 has been the one that's really popped up most often for me. And I guess my question is, because and I really don't really have a lot of information on either side of this argument, but has anybody given ever a rational explanation as to what happened to that building and why it would fall down?
They're saying
Being so
proximity.
removed from.
They're saying proximity.
So
I would love to know. I would love to know why Building
Engineering
7,
books, engineers have written books.
Yeah, I've got one
Architects
nugget.
have written books that you could fill a library with books.
Okay.
There are no
about all of the buildings being knocked down from people who know about the buildings, who know about architecture, who know about engineering, and aren't just people looking at the internet going, "Well, I don't know, maybe it's a conspiracy."
And
But my question, and that's why
there's also like over 2,000 engineers and architects that have wrote books on the opposite side of the argument. So
sure.
Well, somebody in the middle, you can always
find them. There's always
My
a contrarian. There's like 4 science.
Well, there's over
climate
2,000
scientists.
of them.
There's 4 climate scientists who will tell you that climate change isn't a thing either.
My question is, and it's just a very simple question. It's why did a building that never got hit by a plane, when those buildings collapsed like vertically? And I'm just asking a question. That's why I said I am not ready to jump off that cliff, but I do have questions. So 2 buildings that got hit by planes that collapsed vertically, and then you have building that's intact, and then you have building number 7 and it falls.
Okay, so I just did some research on that, Myron. It says Building 7 was not directly hit by an airplane, but suffered severe damage from debris from World Trade Center 1 and 2 collapses, which ignited fires on multiple floors. These fires burned for hours, weakening the building's structure, which ultimately led to a progressive collapse from the interior outwards.
And that's
the NICS investigation concluded that the fires were the primary cause, not controlled demolition.
And that's because World Trade Center 1 and 2 did not collapse into their footprint. They fell down and went into the city streets.
They sure did.
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember seeing it do this.
Of smoke that went throughout the city. We watched it happen live.
Well,
we sure did.
Building 7,
you can see it from space.
Yeah. Building 7 was pretty close to it wasn't like multiple buildings in between the World Trade Center and Building 7. Like it was pretty much right.
It's suffered
damage. It was across the plaza, right?
In Philadelphia, it wasn't. It was like right there on the other side.
It was right there. It's not unlikely. What the explanation they give is not an unlikely explanation for what happened.
7 was a completely different fall. If you watch all 3 towers fall on footage that's still available online, you'll see how the first two fall. And then you'll see how Building 7 falls. Building 7 falls in a manner that casinos are demolished. So if you ever watch a casino get demolished in Vegas, you'll see all of a sudden you'll see the ground shake and the bottom shake, and then all of a sudden the top comes down in one fell swoop until it dominoes on top of each other. But that's not what happened.
That's the weird part.
And
that's the weird part, because
I mean, I'm in.
Yeah, Joe, you did say that you did say that the Twin Towers didn't fall into their own footprint. They actually did, fall.
No, they fell
disperse.
down, but they didn't collapse into their own
collapse
footprint.
into
right.
And the biggest problem with that,
but Building 7 seemed to.
The biggest problem, but it also didn't. It fell down and whoosh. It was
the biggest problem with the towers fell, though, is because of all the steel. They were among the 2 strongest buildings in the world ever built. And there have never been steel exoskeleton buildings built with a steel infrastructure that were built specifically to withstand the attack of a 747. That steel buildings have never ever collapsed within themselves. So if you stacked multiple iron stoves, I saw this was a really good example on top of each other, and you had a really hot fire on the top iron stove, you wouldn't see all the iron stoves underneath it collapse because it's too strong. All of that structural steel is too strong. So, and it can withstand the weight. See, and when you saw all of the explosions coming out of the windows at the same time on the videos in different floors, there is something going on.
Can't that be explained by?
There is absolutely something going on, and that is
air.
The floor falling on the floor and pushing the air out. The same way that happens when you step on a plastic bag.
So then tell me what happens, Joe.
But when you watch it back in slow motion, there's actually floors sometimes the 15 floors below.
Okay. All right. One at a time. We're going to go to Sean. Hold on.
On top of nonsense.
Okay. We have to be respectful. We have to have a respectful dialogue here. We're going to go to Sean. Sean, go ahead to your point. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry, because really Rick needs to finish first. But
oh, go ahead, Rick.
Well, all I was saying was there are too many signs, Joe and everyone else, that make you question why the buildings fell, and they provide reason to question, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not sticking together a conspiracy. I'm not blaming a party or a government. I'm saying the presence of nanothermite that they found in Ground Zero, which is a controlled, listed material that only military and military contractors can use, not thermite, which is used by welders and mechanical engineers and all sorts of people, but nanothermite. When you find that and you can only get it in Los Alamos in New Mexico, now you're like, well, that's interesting. When Larry Silverstein obtains the World Trade Centers in June when they were privatized, and he eats there every day for breakfast, and then the one day he chooses not to is the day 9/11 happens. That's interesting. When he insures the buildings specifically for a terrorist attack for $4 billion, right after they found out that it's filled with asbestos because it was built in the 70s, and now you can't renovate your new building that you were buying to renovate and make money on. Well, now you can't renovate it because anybody that knows anything about construction, if you have the presence of asbestos, you have to do an abatement and you have to rid the building of the asbestos.
Yes.
So now it's cost prohibitive to do that. Well, that's interesting because as soon as he gets the report, now the buildings fall down. It's interesting. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy.
Interesting's doing a lot of work.
There are things that make you go, There was a song.
Interesting, but that's legitimate.
Ben, do you have that soundbite?
That's legitimate questions to ask.
Well, I think
you can double check and see about the thermite claim and find out that it's just as much disputed and rejected by the NIST. Because there's not a chain of custody. There wasn't. There's no legitimacy to the claim.
What happens when they were doing?
It's worth asking the question, and then if the entire narrative is built on the question of, well, they found nanothermite. Well, if you take out they found nanothermite, well, then everything else just there's everything else that was built on that isn't a thing.
I have a question. What's jet fuel made of? I know.
What's what?
What's jet fuel made of? Jet fuel.
Jet fuel is very similar to diesel. It's not quite the same, but it's quite chemically similar to diesel. It's more pure, I guess you would say. But
petroleum and stuff.
Yeah.
What I would say is nanothermite isn't the linchpin for the theory. There were too many. There were a dozen of concerns that popped up that said, when they found cuts in the metal before they actually started doing any debris removal, why would there be cuts in foundational columns? And so that's interesting. Why did they hear explosions before the planes hit? There were people that reported in New York City that they heard explosions.
Yeah, news people. I just watched a 28-minute thing.
I have a question. I'm not refuting that people heard explosions. That's 100% valid. But is it possible? I mean, you're talking about is there gas? Is there gas running through the trade centers? Is there potential gas lines underground that were damaged? Is there other places where those explosions could be coming from? Or also, is it in the freaking chaos of all this? Are people hearing stuff that sound like explosions, but they're not? Like, and
Our
I am
eyewitness reports valid.
right. Like I am with you, like Rick and Sean. I'm with you on the questions, and I think it does make for like very interesting discussions. And there are some things that do make you go, huh. But I have always said, I have said this from the first time people started to present things like this, is questions don't mean there's a conspiracy. They're just questions. Like, you have to have the concrete answers to those questions that prove your conspiracy. And I guess that's where I fall off. I will listen to all the questions and I will be like, that is interesting. Let's find out. But in the end, you got to have an answer that validates that, hey, there's something fishy here, I guess. And that's where
on the one side, you have a 98% answer. On the other side, you have a 2% question. And you're like, well, let's take the outlier. I mean, at some point, I mean, even 60%, you got to go, this is the likely thing that happened, because the things that would have to go right for this outlier to be a thing would be a remarkable chain of events.
All right, go ahead, Sean.
What's interesting is that, so I want to address Brian's thing first, and I'll get to you, Joe.
Hang on. A remarkable chain of events run by a government that we've all acknowledged are incompetent.
I don't think anybody said they were incompetent. I just said they were liars.
I believe they're incompetent.
I mean, they are incompetent as much as any human is incompetent, but nonetheless. So I want to get to what Brian said first. So I kind of forgot because Joe said a bunch of stuff after that, but you said something roughly like, maybe you could restate it, Brian. Something about you're talking about the questions, and then said that you'd have to have answers to
like questions are like, okay, what's going on here? But you've got to have the answers that show.
Yeah. So right there. So question to you: where would we get said answers? From the people lying to us? Would we get them from the liars?
Okay, good
I do,
response,
yes,
Sean.
and I do take
Understood.
I take your point, Sean.
Yep.
But
because while the government may have an agenda, the guy with a YouTube channel doesn't.
What would be my agenda?
Yeah,
no, not you. The guy with the YouTube channel, Spare Change, or whoever the original 9/11
Right.
Oh, I was like,
the guy
wow.
who made the documentary.
Like that guy doesn't have an agenda.
Wow, Joe, take it easy there. Jesus.
No, not you. Not you.
Jesus. I got so defensive. I was like, okay, now we're on a totally different topic.
We're offensive. I mean, the dude trying to sell the 9/11 videotapes from 2002. That dude has an agenda.
Can I interject something real quick?
Just real quick, though. I mean, this is way bigger than one person, Joe. So I think trying to pinpoint on one guy is kind of silly, but sure.
Brian, you had brought up, you were asking Sean about, we were given answers, and that one side's got answers and one side's got questions. I think what the point maybe that where maybe Sean is coming from is questioning the answers that were given. The questions aren't necessarily just only what happened that day as if we weren't given any answers. The whole idea is to question the answers that were handed to us.
Yes.
Right.
And whether or not those answers are valid. And I think that there's definitely room on both sides. There's room to say that maybe, okay, the furthest 9/11 alternative theory, George Bush orchestrated the whole thing because he's a lizard, and whatever.
Yeah, I'm not.
And
I'm
don't get me
board with
wrong.
that.
I say that jokingly, but I do obviously. I think we all agree they're all fucking lizards. I mean, I don't want to
deep down. They're definitely lizards. Yeah,
they're definitely lizards. But so even from the farthest point to the farthest point it was just everything happened exactly how it was, and there's no need to question anything. I don't think either one of those are healthy approaches to this. If you want to get to some semblance of the truth, there has to be some level of looking at the situation and going, okay, we saw what happened with our eyes. We saw with our eyes what happened. And now how do we make sense of that with what we saw versus what we're being told, the answers that were given, the aftermath of it. So there's room on both ends of it to go, you know, maybe there's a little bit of room to admit that I'm wrong about this, or I'm wrong about that, or I don't know about this, or I don't know about that, and kind of leave a door open for new information. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
you can't just trust the official story, but you can't also look at everything as whatever the official story is automatically wrong, and there has to be a conspiracy. There's got to be something in the middle there, you know?
That's correct.
And
If you
My
Watching
biggest
Wheeling-
issue with any kind of conspiracy idea that these were controlled demolitions and is you still have the planes, you still have the people.
Yeah.
So, if I may,
Because they were still planes. We saw them. They happened live, real time.
so
Yeah.
People are still dead.
I'd like to address that directly, Joe, because that was kind of what I wanted to finish my thought on this with, is what I believe happened, and maybe everyone would like to do that. You know, it'd be great.
Sure.
I think that, you know, I think the simplest answer to this is that, I mean, we know, because it's been pretty well documented, that at least parts of our government had a pretty good idea that something like this was coming. Now, to what degree they knew
I believe
is
that
up
too.
for debate, but that we definitely know that they knew that there were attacks coming. In fact, I mean, as I outlined earlier, was it John O'Neill was in the FBI, and this was like a month before that, he was really pushing this, and the FBI let him go, which again, we can speculate as to why that happened. But besides, either way, branches of our government knew that terrorist attacks were coming. Now, I guess that's what leads me to the next part. So if they did, and as we outlined earlier, keeping these buildings as they were was not tenable because of the asbestos. It was not financially feasible to redo these buildings. It would have cost more than they were worth. So you have that issue as well. And then if you add on top of that everything that the people in power gained from this, I mean, tremendous wealth transfer, whether that be because of oil or because of the opium kind of controls we got in Afghanistan. Also, just huge swing of power, political control with the Patriot Act. I think with all that in mind, I think the simplest answer is, I think our government knew. They allowed it to happen. They allowed these planes to hit the building. And they wanted to make sure that the buildings went down so that it looks real good on TV, and it makes for a great way to sell the American people on going to war with a country that really we had no business going to war with.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. I think that's. I think that is.
I'm
that
halfway
is
there.
more sound. That is more sound than maybe getting in the
That's what she
weeds with
said.
a lot of these other things.
Thank
But
you.
I
Thank
think
you, Myron.
That's what
I think
she
it's
said.
like, for me,
Thank you, Ben.
I can go down that road with you, except that I think it probably is more likely that, yes, they had some knowledge that
Yep.
something was going to happen.
Yes.
And because the government is fucking incompetent, they did not
Intercepted it.
they did not
properly.
either ignored it or did not do what they needed
Yes.
to do to prevent it.
Yeah.
Well,
So
see, that's
I
what-
can get
And
there
then
for
seize
sure.
the opportunity in it.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely. And then
hashtag
we're
big
like,
Bingo.
whoa, look at that.
Bingo.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I think
I-
that's much more likely, and because of the incompetence and then the kind of the willingness to seize on it to use it for their purposes, it is very easy to then go backwards and well, what if they fucking orchestrated all this and made it happen and all that? I just think it's more likely that they fumbled,
They missed
dropped the ball,
They
they
missed
missed
something.
it.
Yes. I think there was a okay, my turn. I think there was a misstep. I think the intel was there and they missed it, ignored it,
Mhm.
or believed that it wasn't actually
We know they
real or
didn't miss
true. Okay, then they ignored it, right? Okay.
Well,
But I really can't. I
So
can't.
Myron and Rick,
Okay.
go ahead.
I can't get behind the notion that anybody in our government would let almost 3,000 lives in our country perished beyond what happened after we went to war.
Yeah.
I really still, you call me naive. My heart of hearts says that something, like, I think that they were like, nope, this isn't really going to happen, and they just went about their daily, everyday lives and chose to believe that nobody was going to attack us on our own soil.
Right.
I think that is more the way it went, rather than a belief that the government is behind bringing down those
Their
buildings.
biggest screw up was arrogance.
Yes.
They're like,
Yes.
nobody's gonna
attack us on our own soil.
Myron, you wanted to chime in. Go ahead. What do you think?
No, I was just parroting a comment from hashtag Big Daddy. He said, he mentioned some things about Maui, but he was saying that either it's he said the two most simplest and realistic options are that it's incompetence or it's by purpose. So that's all I wanted to jump in and say, and that's what we've been going over. We've been going back and forth about.
That's right.
Was it incompetence? Did we know about it and we just didn't act, or was it on purpose where we knew about it and we saw an opportunity to make something else happen, and then we just let it happen, and then we allowed it to happen on purpose so that we can further what we had in place in the first place.
So, Myron, if you were going to come down on one of those, what would it be? Incompetence.
Come on, Myron.
I would say, and like I said in the beginning, it's 50-50. I think a lot of politicians serve themselves. When they get in the beginning, they serve the people, and then as they get further in, they want to stay in power, so they start to serve themselves. So I don't put anything past the government. When you look at the Tuskegee experiment, when you look at the experiment in 1940s that we did in Guatemala with young women with STDs, when you look at a lot of the vaccines that we test out, because a lot of people don't realize that, and maybe I'm going into another realm, but a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the vaccines that we test out, we test on human subjects, but we test them out on human subjects in poorer countries under the guise that we're giving them medication. And then we're really, we're making them sign documents that say, hey, no, we know that malaria, or we know that this, or we know that can cause death. How about you let us use this experimental drug, and then we document those before we bring it back to the United States.
And the drug is Obicalc, but it's placebo spelled backwards.
Well, I want to jump in on Myron's point there. I knew Myron would be with me on this part at least. I think that, Marianne, to your point, I think that we forget the atrocities that our government did well before 9/11. We were talking earlier in the show about our short memories.
Yep, I did.
We probably shouldn't. We probably shouldn't forget, especially, Myron, I hate to be too poignant, but let's not forget how blacks especially were treated for well after slavery was over, how they were treated. So don't think for a second that this government won't give up some lives to make some money. Because they'll definitely fucking do it. Don't ever think that.
Yeah.
That's an important point to remember. But also a point to remember is one thing that our government does not do. They don't give a crap about people, but they absolutely care about property.
Yeah.
Blow up, you kill everybody in the plane, they're cool with it. But if you damage the plane, well, now they're going to come after you for the rest of your life. Don't mess with their boats. Don't mess with their planes.
We all know about the
their buildings. That's where they draw the line.
Yeah.
And if a fair retelling of our history is to be done, then we know that they didn't need this to bomb Iraq. They didn't need this.
Right.
But you needed
whatever they wanted to do.
Support. You needed public support to.
That doesn't mean they wouldn't take advantage of it when it happened, but
sure.
But when you look at the history, our intelligence agencies weren't designed for foreign terrorists coming onto our soil, planning this out for several months, and then doing it. Our intelligence agencies didn't talk. They weren't designed that way. I mean, even in our cultural imagination, there was only one movie ever made about a plane blowing up a building or a city. Two, if you count Dr. Strangelove. That's it. We never even conceived of this thing happening. Our intelligence agencies never conceived of it happening.
Well,
Now,
they did.
There was some.
They did.
that they would take advantage of it after the fact, no doubt. No,
There was
Yeah, they
some
did.
TV
They
show or
did.
movie that came
Myron,
out.
go
watch
ahead.
them do it.
Joe,
Live
Joe,
on the
Operation
24-hour news cycle.
Joe, if you could just a second. Joe, Operation Northwood in the 60s was literally using planes and boats to create false flag.
Yeah, and it was rejected.
Yeah.
It was rejected. It never happened. It was talked about. It was rejected, and the Joint Chiefs
I mean, you
came
just
up
said
with
that
it,
you
was
just-
fired and reassigned.
Okay, but you just said that this was never thought about. It literally was thought about by the
No,
CIA.
it was conceived of, but this
Yeah.
type of operation was never done.
You know, we've
didn't even
talked a
have
lot
it in our
about
cultural imagination where we would make movies about it. We've made movies about terrorists taking over the White House, about taking
Right.
over boats, about bringing boats into the harbor full of bombs.
Uh-huh.
We've done all of this.
we
But
talked about
We
New
never
York a
did.
lot.
We never conceived of the idea of running a plane. We had a guy take a truck to a building and blow the building up, and then a dude did it again.
Yeah.
One of the buildings that got knocked
okay.
down.
One last.
Let
Are
me
you
go.
guys aware of the lone gunman? The show The Lone Gunman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell yeah. They had an episode. Yes. There's a spin-off. There's a it's a
6
spin-off
months.
of the X-Files.
Yes, 6 months before before September 11th, they did the episode where the plane was heading towards the World Trade Center. I,
remember
think
that.
that's the
You
one.
were
that-
right, Ben.
Yep.
and they just barely miss it, right?
Yep.
So last point on 9/11 for me, and I'll tap out after this is Pentagon. We didn't talk about that. So
No,
for
we
those
didn't.
of you who like physics and science and math, there was not one major piece found of the plane when it hit the Pentagon, and the engines that General Electric and Rolls-Royce makes are made of titanium, and titanium can burn for thousands and thousands of degrees beyond jet fuel. So for them to completely evaporate and you can't find the engines, and the thought was that it was a plane, plus the width of the span of the wings, the hole in the size of the Pentagon was half the size. So these are things to make you go, And I know it may not be a popular question, but just because it's not convenient doesn't mean you should dismiss it, because you can't just a titanium engine from a 707, 737, 747 does not just disappear. In fact, when it hit the World Trade Center, they found the engine a couple of blocks away and hit another building.
That's right. They did.
So that's a point when we're talking about nuggets. And I know there was a question on you can't lean on nanothermite as the crux of your foundation for your argument. And I certainly am not, Joe. I'm offering probably 10 to 20 nuggets potentially that make you think about, like, okay, are things not adding up? Is there the potential for an alternate explanation other than what the government is feeding us through the media? And that was simply my point to spur on thought and to consider alternate conclusions other than what we're being spoon fed. That's it.
So then, Rick, for you, like, are you kind of like 50-50, kind of on the fence? It feels like
I'm probably more. Larry bought this building and he spent his entire fortune to buy it. It's now in a condition where I can't renovate it. All of my wealth is in these buildings, and I can't afford to renovate it and get my money out of it. There were pictures of Israeli art students there with detonation cord, and we're like, what are they having det cord there for? It's published all over the place. There's just enough things to say, wait a minute, why wasn't he there that day when he was there every day since he bought it? There's a lot of things that the most likely solution for me is not that the government wanted to kill 3,000 people. No.
Yeah.
The most likely solution is that somehow, through power and influence and money, he was able to orchestrate hitting it, because you can't collapse the towers with a plane because they're plane proof. So you have to use other means to be able to collapse an indestructible tower. It wasn't even a 747. And Bobby and I had the conversation because obviously that's his line of work. And
right.
So the most likely solution for me is that somehow Larry Silverstein or other people that were involved with the ownership of the trade centers were like, I got to get my money back. And And then the other things, to some people's points, it was convenient that they went down because now we can unite America to support a war to help us get more oil cheaper long term. And hey, that's a win. I don't think that was, like Marianne said, I don't think it's realistic that the government said, let's go kill 3,000 people. I don't think that was an agenda. That doesn't pencil for me. I agree with Sean that it's plausible, it's possible, but it doesn't pencil for me as the primary reason. It feels to me that it was more of a money grab from the owner of the building. That's where
Okay.
See,
All right.
what I
Full
really
blown
think
Wades is in the house.
Indeed.
Oh,
what,
Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
what I really think happened is there was a terrorist attack. They had hints of a terrorist attack that was going to come,
I
Okay.
agree.
but the administration didn't think it would actually happen. They didn't think it would happen. They thought they would get caught before it happened. They didn't think it would actually happen. And then it happened while he was reading a book to kids in an elementary school in Florida, and the dude
That's
whispered in
right.
his ear, and you could see the look on his face,
The
like,
shock.
oh, shit.
What just happened?
Right. Because
Yeah.
that was also live. We watched
Yes,
it
sir.
happen.
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
And the look on his
Yeah, his
face, the
fake
blood
draw.
ran out of his face. Like, what was he going to do?
That
Finish
you
reading the
can't
book.
put that on.
My Little Pony,
Yeah.
whatever it was, who cares? He finishes reading the book, and he goes and does his little press conference in the lobby
That's
of the
right,
school.
and he
with a bunch of
leaves.
elementary school teachers around him.
Yep.
Fine. But then I think he got his advisors together and said, how do we take advantage of this? What are we going to do?
Yeah. I
Well,
think-
Okay.
And it
Joe-
went from
yeah.
there,
Joe-
and it
Joe-
got bigger and bigger. Because I don't think they had a concept of the Patriot Act before this. I don't think they had a concept of, I mean, maybe they were trying to figure out how to bomb Iraq. Like, how are we going to deal with the Iraq problem? And they were like, well, we have to deal with the Afghanistan problem now. How can we piggyback on that and get rid of Iraq?
Yeah.
Because I really think that was the primary goal of the Bush administration from jump, was to solve the Iraq problem. But then they just took this as an opportunity to do
Got to
it.
finish Daddy's war.
Right.
Yeah.
But they had to go and do this thing with Afghanistan first.
Yeah.
And,
And that-
while we got people there, while we got our knuckles all lined up, let's go ahead and punch someone else. Preemptive strike, no more terrorist attacks, whatever. I think that this was a thing that happened. We watched it happen live. We saw it. It was a
Got
thing
out
that
of
happened.
control.
And then they took advantage of it.
Agree. I
And
would agree with that. I think that's more plausible
Yeah.
than
I don't.
the other.
There's no way that they had a concept of the Patriot Act before the Patriot Act. There's no
Right.
way
Yeah.
they had a
Right.
concept of the Iraq War. Like they just looked. They were like, "Well, we're in uncharted territory. What are we going to do?"
Right.
And they
Right.
just
And they're
just
like, hey,
threw money at it and came up with new blow up things and decided to do it.
and what? Look
Well,
at the shit we could do now.
Joe, I will agree that I don't think that Bush himself had any idea about any of this.
Okay.
I
I,
he had a
Good.
whole lot of ideas about
Good.
life.
I don't think he's a smart enough man to plan this.
He was
all right,
he,
gentlemen.
he was
We
an
got a lot
up jump governor from Texas, and he was barely
I'm gonna
governor
do
of Texas.
Ben's.
No, Ben hasn't given his final
All right.
determination.
Okay, Ben.
All right, Ben, chime in. Where are you? Like, where is your final determination on this? What do you think?
I think that there's a lot to be questioned, a lot to be open to interpretation. I don't discount
Okay.
the idea that this was a terrorist attack, a well-orchestrated terrorist attack from a terrorist group, but there's room to say I think this was a terrorist attack. I agree. I don't think, Bush himself knew about it or orchestrated it. Maybe they knew that there was rumblings that this could happen, and maybe it was hubris that they allowed it to happen. Maybe it was intent, maybe it was malice, whatever. But certainly I think in the aftermath, the explanations and what was attached to this event, like Sean said, this was not just that day. It's 20 years attached to that day.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that the explanations and everything that happened after that, I think, are open to a lot of very, very well-deserved scrutiny.
I agree. Yep. All right, gentlemen. I think it's time to wrap things up. It's 11:16. We're going to do a round robin. A rapid fire really fast. But before we do that, the teacher in me has to commend once again the fabulous discussion that we had. We gave each other a platform to speak, Everybody, there were a couple times where we were talking, but then everybody stopped talking. We let the person who was talking speak. Everybody was respectful of each other with this discussion. It was truly a pleasure to be a part of this panel this evening, to speak in a respectful and appropriate manner of adults.
We're a model for the world, people.
We really are. So
Yes.
thank you to all of you who participated in this discussion this evening. I'm proud of the discussion that happened tonight.
Okay.
And now I'm going to turn it over. We're gonna thank you.
Deep cups
We're
and
gonna
long
mix things up. We have to send this off with a little bit of a lightened mood. We're going to do one rapid fire,
Could we do
and we're
one
going
thing?
to give Ben his question. You're going to
Hold on.
respond. What?
What,
Can
Sean?
we do one thing? And maybe you guys did this at the beginning of the show and I missed it. In fairness, I did come in a few minutes late.
Okay.
I'd be remiss and maybe you guys did do this at the outset. I'd like to at least say something about Charlie Kirk before we go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, I just kind of wanted to, a cheers to a man that lost his life in a terrible way. Regardless of how you may feel about him, I think that's kind of irrelevant. Either way, he was a son, a father, and had 2 young children and a wife, and now he's not here. So
Political assassination has no place in our country, and we need to do better.
Yep.
And I'm actually on a
Cheers.
dry week, but I will pour a little bit for that. So yeah, that's all. I don't think. Yeah.
I'm with you, Sean.
There
I'm
isn't
with you on
anybody
that
in
one.
this panel that disagrees with that.
So,
This
cheers
is
to
not the way
Charlie,
that our
and,
country should be operating.
Yeah. So cheers to Charlie, and if you believe in praying, then pray for his family, or if not, then I guess
I
sure.
thoughts
my
or
heart breaks for
whatever
his
the
wife.
thing, whatever the thing you do
God.
is.
Yep.
I agree that we
All right.
should not have to worry about that sort of thing.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
sure.
Yeah.
Ben, you got a rapid fire for us?
One rapid fire, Ben. Make it good.
Let's get back to some whiskey content here.
Okay.
All
There's
right.
been some back and forth about this amongst different people. Finished whiskey, yay or nay?
Oh.
Like wine finished or barrel
Like
finished
from
or stave
Finland?
finished. Finished whiskey.
I'm taking
Barrel
over hosting
finished,
duties.
wine finished, stave finished.
We're going
a tricky-
Myron first.
That's a tricky one
Hey,
though,
Myron,
Ben, because
yes or no?
I hate to make it a long answer, but you have to realize that something like 1910 would be considered finished because
Yes.
it's going into a secondary barrel. Same thing with Maker's Mark, their French oak staves. That's considered finished. I do love myself some 46 French oaks. I love myself some Rebecca Creek. However, I am not the
I love
biggest
mine.
fan of a lot of the sherry finished stuff. So I'm kind of like
But just the
60-40.
concept of finishing bourbon.
Yes.
Overall.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
not your turn. It's Myron's turn. I'll come to you.
Go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, Rick, I've got this. Rick.
Rapid fire.
Absolutely. I prefer some finishes better than others, but absolutely. I love finished whiskey.
Okay, Sean.
Basically the same answer as Rick. Yeah. There's some
Yeah.
I don't like, some that I love. Obviously, like this one. So
Okay.
Okay, me. I'm not really a finished kind of gal.
You
No.
are. You love double oak. That's finished.
Eh,
It is.
okay,
Secondary
but
barrel.
more likely no than yay. I like a
so more
solid.
no than yes. Okay.
Okay,
And
Brian.
I'd probably like Rick and Sean, yes, but there's some that get a little ridiculous.
Joe.
Yes, but not from Finland. They should stick with vodka.
And finally, my redheaded stallion, Ben. You finish us off. Ha! That's what she said.
I'm a yeah. I was gonna
That's what
say,
she said.
I'm a yay on that one. I
Okay.
like it.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
I will
So
say
before we
though,
go,
I hate sherry cask finished. Those are nasty.
Okay.
Sherry is
Okay.
gross.
I don't like cognac. My cognac's mine.
Yeah,
that I'm
cognac's
like,
awful.
Those
no
Project X's are what really turned me off,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
very honest.
Okay, let's go around real quick and just talk about what everybody has up. Joe, for you, anything you want to tell us about anything coming up, or you just want to promote your brand? Go for it.
Visit the website, theoldhumbledistilling.com website. We've got 4 different whiskeys online. You can have it delivered to your house. We are always working on new stuff. If you're ever in the Houston area, come and visit us. Our tasting room right on the other side of this wall right here is just a delightful place to be.
Awesome. Ben, what do you got coming up?
Today I released the Elijah Craig Ryder Cup versus Small Batch. Did I oversell this in my review? video. So if you watch my review and you're heading out to buy a bottle of that, watch my Did I Oversell This review first, just to get an extra perspective on that. And then I've done some preliminary filming for the title screen intro for bringing back Whiskey Trivia Night in America. That might take a little while because I am traveling in a couple of weeks here, so it'll realistically probably be about a month and a half out. And then I've got a blind with, I did all the 2025 7-year bottled and bonds. I did the Old Granddad 7-year bottled and bond, courtesy of Brian and Marianne, versus the Old Fitz 7-year bottled and bond versus the Bullet 7-year bottled and bond with interesting results.
All right. Very interesting.
Okay, two things I
Are
want
you doing that same one?
We were
Are you doing
going
the same
to,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do
We're
it,
gonna
do it, because I want to see what your results are.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Two
Mine
things.
were not as
One-
expected.
We're trying to go around the
One,
horn
Ben
here.
looking fantastic in his jacket again for
Oh, the blue jacket.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. The blue
and
jacket, yeah.
featuring cards that his friend Marianne sent to him from the
Yes,
garden.
indeed. Those will be
All
busted
right.
out.
Myron, what do you got coming up, buddy?
Just normal stuff. So we've got a pick from Poor Decisions Group that's almost sold out. This is the Cedar Ridge pick. Comes in at 118.3 proof. It is 5 years old. It was a blend, the first blend that Cedar Ridge has ever done of 2 barrels for a pick. So that right there, and then just regular content, reviews, maybe hunt videos here and there. They get a little expensive, but we make them happen.
And any review Myron does, I agree with.
Okay.
That's
Rick, anything coming up on the DRC?
Yeah, Bobby and I got a handful of picks going right now. Right now we're working with Still Austin on a rye single barrel pick, and Nancy kind of blessed the ryes that we're picking from. And you guys may have seen the video that Bobby released where he went down and took it to David Souza, who is, in our opinion, the clear king of ryes on the planet. Mm-hmm. And so he blessed the one that Bobby was looking at, and then I came and did my tasting. So I'm going to release that, and we'll put that video out soon. And we'll have some things from Garrison Brothers. We've got a Garrison rep coming up to Tracy to do a private tasting for us on single barrel. So they're coming to us, which is great, pretty exciting, all the way from Texas. So we got some fun stuff coming.
Nice.
You guys are so fancy.
Awesome. And Sean, are you streaming this weekend?
I will be.
All right.
You guys all know what today is, so I don't think I need to tell you what Saturday will be about.
All right. A little bit more. You need some more, right?
If I don't make it to the live stream, I will definitely watch the rebroadcast of that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We definitely will not be there. My best friend is turning 50 on Saturday.
We'll
it's her dance party. We'll be there till 1 a.m.
All right. For Bourbon School,
we have filming coming up on Tuesday.
We're filming on Monday. Yeah, we're gonna have a live stream next Thursday with Matt from Barrel Shop. Mm-hmm. He's gonna join us. We're gonna talk about what he's got going on there. I don't really know what we're going to have coming up as far as reviews and stuff. I know we're going to do the Penelope cigar, but other than that, it's whatever we pull off the shelf.
Shout out to Lauren, who I push into her classroom. I'm a special ed teacher. She's the social studies teacher. No, she does a great job teaching 9/11 to her classes.
Oh, okay.
That's all I was going to say. She does an excellent job.
Okay.
That's great.
Can I suggest that Brian wears a white t-shirt and blue jeans, Marianne wears leggings and the sweat socks from the 90s, and you guys do the dancing video?
The dance
I'm
party.
wearing leggings right now.
All right. Sure. Maybe not right now, but yeah.
No, the dirty dancing. Dirty dancing.
Yeah,
Remember
you
the
know
dirty
what
dancing?
Yeah, film
Myron
your
wants
dance
to see?
party that you're going to and upload that.
We'll do some footage for you.
Yeah, we'll deliver some footage.
That'll be funny.
Hey, everybody out there, thank you for sticking with us till almost 11:30 at night. We
Yowza.
appreciate you. This is a late night, and we have school in the morning, but
We're not staying backstage
I'm showing.
afterwards.
I'm gonna just.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip right out. So cheers to all you guys. Joe, it was a pleasure to meet you. This was another fun one.
You know what? The respectful conversation that we had is the best.
Yes,
truly.
And Joe and Rick, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be back. We'll be back in 2 weeks. I think we know what we're going to be talking about. We don't know who's going to be on with us, but I have some ideas. So we're going to be talking some current events
And
but
you're-
also some
Oh
whiskey.
God.
All right, so we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Whiskey Six. Subscribe to Old Humble. Subscribe to Bourbon School, Bourbon Note, Bourbon Drop, DRC Bar, Whiskey Wars, Mash and Metal, Bad Axe Bourbon, and all the things. And thank you all.
Thanks for
tuning
sticking
in.
with us.
Have a great night,
Hey,
everybody.
Cheers, everybody.
guys, before you sign
Yeah.
off, do you want to do a quick 5-minute postscript? I can take you for a
Yeah,
walk.
yeah. 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not more than 5 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Okay.